You're watching the Top 6 Show, the original multi-club fan channel. Make sure you're following us now on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. The link is in the description below. Welcome back to the Top 6 Show. It's Monday night. We are live. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button as well. And I will tell you at the top, we're giving away 2 tickets plus £250 spending money in our Pride raffle. The draw is in about 32 days' time. It's on the Friday, a week before, Friday week before the FA Cup final, the biggest FA Cup final maybe in history, the first Manchester derby. It could be to stop the treble, and you've got a chance of winning 2 tickets and £250 spending money. Link in our description, or scan that QR code above my head to go and enter now. We've got a brilliant panel tonight, lots to jump in and delve into. We've got man like Egal, Mo, Sava, and Nobbins here with us. Staffy is on his way as well. But I think we have to start with Spurs tonight, boys. I think we've got to start with Tottenham because they were embarrassed at the weekend. And now a message from Daniel is that Stellini has been sacked. A humbling at the weekend. Talk to me, Sav. Talk to me.
Can I just record a message and then you just don't need me and it just plays every week? It's the same answer. Look, yeah, it's a bit of a shambles, isn't it? And it is at the point where I'm laughing at it because it's so bad. There's literally, you can't debate with any other fans about it. I can't sit here and go, oh, but this, we're awful. The players aren't playing for anybody. The owner's got everything wrong, from director of football to manager to signings to tea lady to, I don't know, kit man. I don't know. The whole thing is just wrong. And look, I mean, if you are going to get rid of Conte, and I've got my own theory on why Conte went, if you want to hear that in a minute, but if you are going to remove Conte from power, so to speak, you've got to remove all of Conte, and that includes Stellini. I don't know why you would leave him in charge and think that anything is going to change or that the players are going to play for him. So I'm not surprised. I'll be more surprised if we pick up a single win between now and the end of the season. We need to get to the end of the season. We're probably going to take a few batterings along the way against the likes of Liverpool away. I think Villa will turn us over massively at Villa Park. Palace will probably come to us and give us a good hiding as well. And then we go again. We start a new season with optimism. So, yeah, good times, Terry. Good times, mate.
I hear that. The statement, Egal, from Daniel.
I find that weird. I don't know about anybody in the comment section, anybody here. Have you ever seen a club statement from an individual? Usually it comes from the club. You don't see it from this owner or from that, unless it's something specifically addressing a scandal that has to do with the owner or something like what happened with Roman where he had to leave. I don't think from Daniel. It's kind of like, is he bigger than the club? Like, what is he? Does he really believe he's bigger than the club? Because it almost comes as if the statement from Tottenham or from Spurs would have made more sense. But from Daniel, it almost seems like, maybe I'm overthinking it, but to me, it just sounds like he's a little bit delusional and he believes that he runs everything and no one else can have a say on anything.
He's not delusional. He does run everything. This is what I was trying to explain last week. This guy runs the show, every part of it. But I think this statement, Egal, is more from, he's ballsed up completely. Like he ballsed up bringing in Conte. It was never going to work. He's then ballsed up bringing in Stellini, and I think this is more. He had to take it on the chin, right? He had to say something. He had to acknowledge that because there are planned protests. There are planned people leaving early against Man United on Thursday. He's trying damage control at this stage, but it won't work. The fans have gone. The fans have turned.
So you view this as a positive accountability. That's what you view this as.
I don't know if that's a positive. He's got nowhere to hide. He has to take accountability for this. He is single-handedly responsible for the club. He's been there 22, 23 years. this is the mess that we've got to after 22, 23 years of ownership. I'd like to think, whether it's a football club or any business, that we're stable, right? That we've got a plan and everyone knows what our company is and the product we sell or whatever. 22 years. Can any of you tell me what Spurs are?
You are a consistently club that finishes in the top 6 over the past, I think, 12 years. Since like 2008, you've been finishing in the top 6. You haven't won trophies, but you kept your position there. And that's where you are now. Now you might be replaced with Newcastle. They're going to create their own history, as Man City created their own history over the past, because they're winning trophies. And you failed to create history where you were on top. What I mean on top is that you were around the top clubs, challenging for trophies. You were Champions League final, FA Cup final. You were always in the top 4, always Champions League club. But you failed. And I'm fearing for Spurs that if they don't get it right, I'm really fearing for Spurs. If they don't get it right, they might be replaced. And it's not only about the money. It's always about you create the history, and you haven't. And that's the worry for Spurs fans. Most of them, they're worried that this was our chance. You were very stable, Safa. You said that. You're a very stable club with a project with Pochettino in 2013. And the peak was that Champions League final. But you didn't capitalize. And I'm not sure where to go from there, because it keeps getting worse.
I would say this: they're the most successful team that have never won anything, based on the fact that they've achieved so much off the pitch.
Never won anything.
No, recently, like you haven't won anything recently, but you are up there with the top clubs in Europe. And people would say, whenever they mention the top 6 or the Premier League's top 6, they always include you guys. Whenever they include any of the top earners or any of the top clubs in world football, you see Tottenham somewhere in that list, but you have nowhere near the level of success of any of those clubs. You look at RB Leipzig; they've recently started as a football club, and they don't have much in the top level yet. But I view you guys in that same bracket at this moment in time, where it's like you haven't achieved anything to be to the level of where you are at, but you've been able to get there by doing smart decisions off the pitch. And that's where maybe Daniel Levy deserves the most respect. He's gotten Tottenham Football Club, Tottenham Hotspur, into this top 6, into this bracket where people are talking about you as an elite club, where
I can't do this again.
You have nothing to show for it.
I can't do this. I can't sit and have rival fans talking to me about what respect Daniel Levy deserves. Daniel Levy can go. Listen, Egal, you're a football fan, right?
Yeah.
Right, I'm a football fan. We're all football fans. None of us are in here to celebrate finance. None of us are in here to celebrate stadium and infrastructure, right? Daniel Levy is Daniel Levy's kept us where he's needed us without ever wanting to push the envelope. Those years you said when we got to Champions League, those years when we made it to finals, those were the years where you turn around and go, right, we're on the cusp of something now. Right, go and strengthen the squad with 3 or 4 top quality players and build. We don't ever do that. What we do is we make it and then we go, we don't need to strengthen. We don't need to strengthen. We made it there. And that's the thing, because he knows the difference, Egal, between finishing 4th and winning the league in terms of prize money is what?
It's the ambition. You need to push on.
Right, but that's
the money is not different. It's not that different. Yes, I get what you're saying, Sava.
That's the point.
For him,
so for Daniel Levy, he'd have
okay,
to right, for him to now get to first for an extra 15 odd million, whatever, I don't know, somebody will tell me the right numbers, for an extra 10, 15 million, he's got to go and spend 300, 400 million on top players. Do you see the problem here?
I didn't want to cut you off, but just to make it clear, I was not trying to give him any credit for the state that you're in right now and saying, oh, he doesn't have any fault with that. I'm just basically saying for you guys to get to where you guys were in mid-table to now be considered solidified top 6 and one of the top teams in the league, you got to give him a little credit there.
He has done at Tottenham what the Glazers have done at Man United. People look at like Ed Woodward, and I've seen so many Man United fans, prominent Man United fans on Sky News, on big channels talking about how they say things like, I even think there's business people, they're dumb because if we'd have won more, they'd have made even more money. And it's like, no, because they would have, the way they've operated, the people they had running the club after Fergie, the Ed Woodwards, have been friends of the Glazers for decades. It's all about growing the value of the business without exposing themselves to too much and selling it at a massive profit. Because essentially one day that is what Levy and Enoch are going to do. They want to sell it for as much profit as possible. And that's absolutely right. To go one place, two places further in the league, sometimes it takes another 200, 300, 400 million pounds. And you look at Man United, we spent a lot of money on the football pitch and wasted a lot of money on the football pitch. But that's money the Glazers couldn't really take out. They couldn't do that and maintain a certain level. They basically kept Man United at a point where we're still worth a lot of money, but we're not quite successful. What they should have been doing is taking those billions they've taken out in dividends, and that should have been creating new training grounds, new infrastructures, improving stadia, and they've not invested in the right places. And that's what Daniel Levy's done. And you guys have become, you know, a little bit of a joke because of the fact that you were so close to winning some big trophies 3, 4, 5 years ago. You had, you know, the likes of Son and Kane and even players that have left now. When you had Toby Alderweireld and who's Vertonghen.
Jan Vertonghen, yeah.
When those two were in their pomp together, one of the best centre-back pairings in Europe, as an example.
They were amazing.
You had a really good team and it's fallen apart. And you can see now the motivation of Daniel Levy and Enoch, which is about making money. No different to the Glazers, no difference to, you know, what Hicks and Gillette tried to do at Liverpool, but it went horribly wrong. Now, though, on top of this, you're now at the risk of losing Harry Kane, and you might get a lot of money for him. So you might still pick up 80 million, 90 million for him, but that's still going to be somewhere near 60 million pounds less than you were offered 2 years ago for him. Is it going to be reinvested correctly? Who is the new manager going to be? Right now, it's for me, like looking on the outside in, it is a bad time to be a Tottenham
It's a mess.
fan. And yesterday's result for me was just almost like it was indicative of the way what Tottenham have become in recent years. And you know, I was very happy to see Matt Law's sort of news that United are now doing their due diligence on Harry Kane, because I want my club to save him. You know, we're going to have new owners in the summer, fresh slate, brilliant team being built, new manager coming in with at least one trophy. Someone like Harry Kane, if he was at Man United this year, he'd have a trophy. In fact, if he was at Man United this year, I think we'd be in a title race. I don't think we'd win it, but I think we'd be in the title race. He's got to get out. And I don't know where Spurs go from here, because Newcastle are on the rise. Liverpool and Chelsea will come back to challenge it. They're in a very, very difficult situation for me, Tottenham, right now. And I'm at a point where I don't even want to banter, because it's got to a point where, you know that scene from The Simpsons, like he's dead already? Think of the kids. That's how I feel. It's like Spurs are done out here. And I actually now want to see Spurs fans treated with respect. All of our clubs in this country, I can't speak for other nations because I don't know the makeup of it. Our clubs are all built by the working class communities, and I give a massive damn about how normal, everyday people are treated, and what Enoch and what Daniel Levy are doing to those fans. Who, by the way, pay more money. I now want to see Spurs fans treat point where whoever's got that stream on in the background, turn that down for us. Yeah, for me, from my point of view, I want to see them treated right. I want to see Spurs fans stand up and do the right thing by challenging their football club, condemning their football club, you know, maybe walking away financially if they don't get what they want. And I know that's a hard thing, but listen, I've seen it at my club. If you keep giving them your money, they'll keep treating you this way. That's the thing. It becomes a very, very vicious cycle.
There'll be 62,000 people in that stadium Thursday night.
Yep.
If you know what I mean by that, you know what I mean by that, right? There'll be 62,000 people in that stadium. They'll all be spending money on. I'm not blaming those fans, but this is just what we've become. It's a day out. It's a lovely day out. I don't know if you guys have been to the Spurs Stadium. Have you all been?
I've been.
Yeah, it is phenomenal. The Spurs Stadium, it's the only brag we have, and that's really sad. Oh, come and see our lovely stadium and our bar and we've got lovely toilets. The toilets at the Spurs Stadium,
they're phenomenal. Yeah,
they're phenomenal, right? But that's where our money goes.
You can charge your phone at your seat. So it's amazing. It's brilliant.
I had a tour in the stadium because it was this one of the games I went in England, like back in 2019, and I'm like, okay, this stadium is so good. And I stayed after the game, and I paid one of the guys like £20 just to take me around, and it's absolutely fantastic. It's top notch, but the problem is you're losing your global fans if you don't win. That's one of the things that I want to, like, I know you want to move on, but just one thing: Spurs are losing young kids coming and supporting them. The period where Spurs will reach in front of the Dele Alli, the Harry Kane, and as you guys said, you were gaining young kids around the world. You were gaining recognition, global recognition. it's not only about the local people going. It's not only about the tourists that go to London. It's about globalization. Arsenal is still a big club without winning trophies because they have a massive fan base that was built around the 2000s. Massive fan base all over the world. They go to the States, Asia, they fill out stadiums. If Spurs don't pick it up, they're going to lose their global recognition and the club's value go down because it's all about merchandise outside England. It's not only about the 60,000 that go to the stadium. The money comes from people watching your games outside of your country. And you're going to lose that. And it's scary times for Spurs fans, to be honest.
And that's even worse given the context of like the game yesterday. Not only was it a bad result, obviously, but it was also symbolic in a way because Newcastle are coming for that big six, a big six spot. I don't think it's going to be a big seven. It's going to be a big six. Someone's got to drop out. And this is not the sort of time where you want to be capitulating.
It's going to be sour, isn't it? Well, a sour dropout like that. That's what it'll be like with Tottenham. I'm only joking, mate.
Yeah, so United, Liverpool, probably too big to fail. Maybe the same with Arsenal as well. Chelsea and City will probably always be there or thereabouts with the money and the back-in. Spurs is a very good company. I think it's fair to say that Levy's made it a very good company. But in terms of like on the pitch, that's where the worry would be for me. That because Newcastle are coming and with the investments, because they're a very well-run club, we can already see that. And the way they will be going with their investment. If I was a Spurs fan, I would be really concerned about dropping out of that big six on a more permanent basis.
Yeah, do you know what? I think we need to this year, though, right? I truly believe. Like I did a video this morning saying I feel we need to finish 8th, and everyone's like, "No, we need Europe." And I'm like, if ever a club needs a reset, needs to get to the summer, get rid of so much deadwood, and actually just build an 11 for a while. Obviously more than 11, but you know what I mean. Build a team. We kind of need to do that.
But I have a
we
question.
need to do that.
Keep it on Tottenham. The big news came out from Matt Law today that United are doing their due diligence. The player is very unlikely to sign a new deal. Levy is now open to the idea of selling him. They're publicly stating 80 million abroad, 100 million to Manchester United. Do you think part of that reset also includes selling Harry Kane?
Depends how much trouble you want to get me in with the rest of the Spurs community here, Terry. Look, for me, when Kane goes, he goes. Someone I YouTube with all the time says there will come a time where Harry Kane has kicked his last ball, and we need to be prepared for that. We've failed him. We've failed to build around having one of the best strikers in the world for 8, 9, 10 seasons. We failed that. If it means him going to build a young, hungry team with quick, young forwards that want to press and whatever, then that's what happens. I've seen better players come and go from Spurs. Yeah, some of the younger fans won't have. I've seen better players come and go. The football club will still be there. We will still survive. But at the end of the day, I don't even think it matters what any of us want. I'll put this back to you, Terry, and to the rest of the panel if it's all right. If Harry Kane signs a new contract at Tottenham, what does that tell you about his ambition as a footballer?
Zero. He's an
exactly.
idiot.
It tells you that. I mean, you couldn't say, well, he wants to be a legend, but I probably take it as it probably suggests his attitude is one of he's quite comfy with where he is and he's quite happy to just stay, rather than, if he went to United, it's not a guarantee he'll get trophies, but he probably got a better chance, and it's certainly more of a challenge. So that would probably tell me that the ambition is lacking, probably.
I think for both parties that he has to go. First of all, do you guys hear me fine? Because I just want to make sure. Okay. Sorry for joining late, by the way. I've just been having internet issues. But yeah, I think it's best for both parties that Kane leaves. I think, as Savas said, he doesn't want to say it, so he doesn't rattle more of his fan base. But I'll say, as an outsider, you guys had Gareth Bale at some point where he left, and you used that money.
We
can barely.
Was he about to say we used the Gareth Bale money really, really poorly? Blah blah blah. The problem with that, Terry, is back then when when Gareth Bale went, 100-odd million was a lot of money. Nowadays, if we're talking about 90 million, 80 million for Harry Kane, let's be really honest, 90 million, that's only getting you two very good players, not even quality players.
And you won't get a player with the same stature.
And
Not
that's
90
why,
million.
and that's
won.
why when I see Man United fans say 80, 90 million is too much for Harry Kane, no, it isn't. This guy will give Man United 4 or 5 years. This guy will score over 100 goals. He'll get 40 to 50 assists, and I believe he will help us to win trophies, or at the very least be competitive in title races. Victor Osimhen is another good option for Man United, but I think United fans have got to remember we will have new owners, in my opinion, or at the very least, the Glazers stay. The debt's going to be cleared off with the investment that they're going to be taking in, meaning there's going to be big money to spend. I'm all up for getting a Harry Kane for the next 4 or 5 years, and then let's cross that bridge when we have to again in 4 or 5 years' time to replace him. I don't think we should be worrying about we need to buy someone now that can give us 10 years because who knows who's going to be available in 4 or 5 years' time. I agree with what you said, Nobbins. If he does stay at Tottenham, it does show a massive lack of ambition, in my opinion. Man United are ready to go. I think what we've achieved this year has been we've overachieved this season, as we've spoke about. I've been on Twitter saying we've overachieved based on everybody's expectations. Next year, the expectations are higher, and we need a player of his caliber. I think it works perfectly for everybody. I also think Harry Kane can also be a bit of a hindrance to you. Not that he's a bad player, not that I think he's a outright bottle job, but there is this element of I think a lot of your players in your team just hand all the responsibility over to him. The England team did it when Wayne Rooney was in his pomp. It was the media and the fans expect Rooney to win this for us. So I can just hide a little bit and put all the pressure upon Wayne Rooney to deliver as opposed to it being a team effort. And I think that happens to Tottenham a lot. It's Kane will deliver, Kane will deliver, Kane will deliver. At Man United, there's different pressures that come with that. But Man United right now have multiple match winners and massive players in our team. And Kane will come in and be a star, but he may not be the star. Casemiro's there, Varane is there, Rashford's there. Rashford's going to be a bigger player than him at Manchester United, at least year 1, year 2. So that pressure is going to be split. And I hope this rumor that Matt Law's come out with is true today. I actually think it's good for Tottenham. And a lot of Spurs fans may think I'm just saying that, trying to kind of create a net list. Me saying it isn't going to make the deal happen or not. But I think it's a brilliant move for Man United. It takes us up another level. I think it gives you guys some money that you can reinvest. But I think that responsibility needs to be taken away from Kane and handed back to the squad. And some other people need to step up and kind of take that mantle as the talisman of your team, because I think Harry Kane's taken you as far as he personally can, really. I really, really do.
I was just going to jump in quickly. I agree with you, Terry, on that thing. I'm not going to spend too much time on the Harry Kane point because I feel like Harry Kane himself will have to leave Tottenham to progress his career, and Tottenham will have to move on because their rebuild at this moment in time is the biggest out of all of the top 6. We've been talking about Chelsea's rebuild for a long time, but look at Tottenham's rebuild. They have no actual pieces right now that you can say this is going to be the main piece for the next 4 or 5 years. Even Son himself is underperforming this season, and their main people would be Kulusevski and Christian Romero. But I even have some. They haven't even had the best of seasons this season. So you got to look at Tottenham and say their whole team is going to get overhauled over the next couple of years, and this could be a situation where they take a bunch of steps back from who they are right now, which is a solidified top 4, top 6 team, to now maybe a couple of seasons where you're 8th, a couple of seasons where you're where you're in and around the teams that are in Europe, just to see if you can get a squad that can refresh, because there's no succession plan with the players you currently have.
Here is a problem with Spurs, which is the last thing, is that the academy does not produce top quality players, like the likes of Oliver Skip, the likes of Harry Winks. Like these are not the players that will take you to the next level. No, I don't think so. That this is like the Dele Alli when he came through the academy. He was a great player at that time. He was he was 100 million. Real Madrid were talking. But where are these players go? What happened? What is the academy? So I don't know. Do you need to spend 600 million like Chelsea? Is your owners even going to spend that much money for you to rebuild? I don't think so. So it needs like a big reset. And I don't know, where does that reset go? Does it go to the academy, or it goes to the market, or I don't know. Where do you go in terms of like the rebuild that Egal is talking about? Because Arsenal did it with academy, with young players. Saka's, the Martinellis, the Emil Smith-Rowe, even the Salibas. Gabriel is still young. I don't know where Spurs, how do Spurs get back? It has to be money, because I don't think the academy is there.
I've just ordered myself a noose off of Amazon. it's all so positive.
Look, it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Some of the comments, Mark here is a United fan, says some of the most nonsensical stuff I've ever heard from Terry Talk. I think Harry Kane makes Man United a much better team. I think he puts us into title races. I believe he's that good. Mark also did go on to say that stop with the passport bias cap. If you've all watched the Football Terrace long enough, you know that that is just not my way, my shape, or my form. It's not because he's English, Harry Kane. It's because I think he's an absolutely sensational football player. I'd like De Jong at Man United. He doesn't have a British passport, as an example. I want Costa in goal. The last time I checked, Egal, does Costa have a British passport? No, I don't think he does. My favourite player at the moment is Bruno Fernandes. Mo, is Bruno Fernandes English?
No.
Oh,
Portuguese.
I just thought, yeah, my manager. I love my new manager. Staffy, is Ten Hag British?
No, as far as I checked, he's not.
Cool. I'm just checking. I'm just checking to make sure that I don't have an English bias. I'm just checking to see if that is true. Debbie here says that Man United has to be scared right now about Newcastle United. I wouldn't be surprised that the Glazers would have told Qatar, yeah, we accept the bid, but whatever you do, tell our fans we didn't run. I don't think the Glazers care about the Saudis per se. The Saudis the Saudis are going to make the Premier League more valuable, which is going to add value to their club. That is what they care about. And Man United everybody should be concerned about Newcastle, including Manchester United. But how you respond to that concern is by running your own club and business better. Man United, well run, shouldn't have any problems with City's or Newcastle's because financially we're as strong as them, even with debt. So it's all about how we're run moving forward. M here says you're not just paying for Kane's abilities, you're paying Tottenham to lose their best player and for their role in developing the player. Yeah, you're playing for his commerciality as well. This is the England captain. It's a man with a huge fan base and millions of people that probably will still love him irrespective of what club that he plays for. And Harry Kane, I believe, will help Manchester United win some more trophies. I truly believe that. Some will disagree. It's my belief. On Man United winning trophies, though, I did want to ask you all a question. I'm going to go to Egal first on this one. Have Manchester United overachieved so far this season? Carabao Cup won, into the FA Cup final, sitting fourth in the league, 6 points clear of fifth. Have Man United overachieved this season, in your opinion?
There's high standards FC will tell you no, but when it comes to your expectations at the beginning of the season, 100% you have. And I think coming into the season, we can all say we probably didn't predict Man United to be in the top four. Even after they made their signings, some of us probably didn't have them in our top four, and they got that. For them, they haven't won a trophy in 5 years. I didn't think they were going to break that duck this season. They did that, and now they're in the FA Cup final, and they can win a second trophy potentially. And you also control your own fate in the whole stopping Man City from winning the treble. Because if Real Madrid don't do it and we don't do it, you still have the opportunity to do it yourselves. So
to answer that question, Terry, simple. Anybody expected Man United to finish above Liverpool, above Chelsea? I doubt it. Nobody. Anybody expected them to finish above Man City? Nobody did. Anybody expected him to win a trophy? No. A new manager coming in, change the way the club is run, change the way people look at the club. Yes, they might be only fourth, but this is what they can. They weren't never going to challenge for the title. They were never going to win the title. They weren't going to play in the Champions League because he inherited a club that doesn't play in the Champions League. It's as simple as that. Staffy said that before. And they are playing okay football, maybe defensive sometimes. People don't like that. People want to say Man United, and we talked about this, Terry, yesterday, and people wanted to say Man United play the same brand of football every game. It's new players, new coach, everything is new. I think they're doing what anybody would say, yeah, it's a great season. And I'm going to say this, it's what we expected them to do. However, it's a great season for them if they win a trophy and finish in the top four. What did you guys expect? I don't know.
Let me flip it on you, Terry. If this was Man United under Sir Alex Ferguson, would it be an underachievement?
Yes.
That's what those people are probably saying.
I totally get that logic. So my view is this. I tweeted it yesterday. This season we have massively overachieved. This season, based on what we were predicted to do by pundits, rivals, and the majority of Man United fans alike. I can't find, as much as Dom Hassam will say we're not overachieving. He predicted us coming seventh. Nobody said we'd win a league title. People can say, well, look at who you've beat and your home draws. But that's the nature of cup football. You have no idea who you're going to be drawn against, whether it's going to be home or away. You have to beat who's in front of you. Plus, a lot of these small rubbish teams that Man United have beat to go on and win trophies and get to a final have knocked out the rest of the top 6. So you bantering us for being in finals and winning trophies against those teams, it's more of an L to you because they knocked you out. So I don't really get that. But from my point of view, we've surpassed this season's expectations. Based on Man United's history, it's you could argue it's a satisfactory season. 3rd or 4th in the league with the trophy FA Cup final. Based on Fergie's era, you would say it's an underachievement. But if we use that logic, so a lot of Liverpool fans saying this, that means Klopp era has been an underachievement. Because in Liverpool's best moments of their history, in the 70s and 80s, they won more league titles and more Champions Leagues than Klopp has won. Therefore, Klopp is underachieving. I've seen people say, but in the last 5, 6, 7 years, Terry spent £1 billion. Therefore, 1 League Cup's not enough. Okay, well, so we add up all the money Arsenal have spent in the last decade. That means this season is an underachievement for Arsenal. Let's add up all the money Liverpool have spent in the last 10 years, which is hundreds of millions. Klopp has underachieved based on that logic. I'm just seeing Man United. Sam, an example, said to me that I'm not allowed to use the English dictionary definition of overachieve, which is to achieve more than was expected of you, because context have got to be applied. And the context that's being given is, which I find very strange, the context that is being given is that Chelsea and Liverpool have dropped off. Again, that personally to me doesn't make any sense. Just because Liverpool and Chelsea are crap this year, how does that make Man United win their games?
Oh, can I say something about that there? Because I've heard that a lot.
Very strange to me. Yeah, go on, man.
You guys hear me well this time, right?
Yeah, cool.
Okay. I just wanted to touch on that because I've heard that take so many times, and it actually gets me angry when people say, well, this team and that team dropped off. Okay. Are we using that same argument for Arsenal, for them competing for the league this year? No, we're not. We're respecting where Arsenal built. We're respecting the process from day one to now from Arteta to take them to a team that competed this year, and we're saying they're pushing City all the way and stuff like that. No one is using the argument, well, Liverpool dropped off, this is why Arsenal's second. I don't understand how it only applies when it's for Man United. And also, not only has there been other teams that dropped off, there's teams that stepped up and took these teams' positions. So Liverpool and Chelsea, as an example, dropped off this year. Spurs are looking like they're going to finish lower where they are right now. But you have teams like Newcastle that stepped up. You have teams like Brighton that stepped up. So how is it that argument only works against Man United, but not for everyone else? Because it's just illogical to say it in that way.
Isn't it just rivalry? Isn't it? I think it's just rivalry. It's football banter, right? Because let's be honest. If you ask sensible fans that are able to take the hat off of the club they support, if you had sat everybody down at the beginning of this season, and they do it with every pundit, every fan has a show, don't they? All YouTubers have a show where you go, right, what's your predictions this year? Right? Mine, right? I don't mind calling it, clip this, whatever. Man City first, yeah, followed by Liverpool, shoo-in, followed by Chelsea, yeah, followed by Spurs. That's my top 4. I'm looking like I might get one of those right, and that might be Man City. That's football, right? These things happen. So on that basis, for me, Man United, have they overachieved? I would say they've had I don't know if I'd use the term overachieved. They've had a good season compared to what was expected of them. But if you finish top 4 in a League Cup, I think that's a good year. It's a good year. It shows progress. And I'm pretty sure a new manager coming in, making 2 domestic cups and getting Champions League football is a really, really good first year in management. But the problem is, Terry, I think people will judge Man United based on the heydays of Alex Ferguson, but that's not the Man United we currently have, right? So,
and do you know what, Sav? You are right. It is banter, and I can understand it to a degree. But the problem that I have is when I see the banter being pushed out in mainstream media and by journalists and by people that are speaking to millions of voices, and that banter then suddenly becomes quote unquote factual. We're seeing it in the way that I see Man United legendary teams of the past played down. Went recently talking about how Fergie would never be able to compete in this era because he never got 100 points. Comments like that, I think, are disrespectful to the heritage of football, and I kind of care about pushing back against it. As I say, I don't judge Pep based on what previous managers spent. I don't judge Klopp based on what previous managers spent. Mikel Arteta should not be judged based on the hundreds of millions in the latter stages of Wenger's career that he wasted or that Unai Emery spent. We don't do that to anybody else. But suddenly this year, I've seen graphics where Ten Hag's been put up against Pep, but they show what United have spent since Pep has been at City and then where we're both sitting now. And I just think, why you got a picture of Eric Ten Hag up there that's been here? When that picture was put up, he'd been at the club 7 months. And year one in England, Pep Guardiola didn't win anything.
He finished 4th, if you remember.
And that's not a dig at Pep. Pep's the greatest current manager around, and in my opinion, the greatest manager since Sir Alex Ferguson, and will go down as one of the greatest of all time when he retires. I think he's brilliant. I never call him a checkbook manager. I never disrespect him. But I'm not going to lie to you. I'm sick and tired of the bullshit every time Man United achieve something. And you can judge us based on the entirety of our club. Then let's do that to everybody. Let's do it to every single team. Because that means that Liverpool shouldn't have been lauded for what they've done in the last few years. Because winning one league title and one Champions League based on Liverpool's heritage isn't enough. But no one did that. We praised them all for being one of the best teams in the world and achieving some really good things. But with Man United, we progress and we're still attacked. It's a ridiculous notion for me.
Terry, I agree with Slav though. A lot of people do criticize Arsenal this season. A lot of people do criticize Liverpool under Klopp and say they underachieved. They should have won more. Because if this is the end of that Liverpool, they only leave. Of course, they've won everything, but they only won one league and one FA Cup. I mean, one FA Cup, one League Cup, and
they're
one,
a buffet team. They took one of each.
That's they didn't win multiple league titles. They didn't win multiple Champions Leagues. They could have had more glory because they were in multiple finals. They were in multiple title races. So
they didn't retain any title either. Yeah,
there are people who are going to criticize them, and this is not a dig at Liverpool. I also honestly agree that Arsene Wenger underachieved in his time at Arsenal because he could have left with more league titles. How many league titles did we leave on the table? It is what it is. Nowadays, this is what people do. Misery loves company, and no matter how good you're doing, there's going to be people to hate on it.
Yeah, as KJ here says, of course they beat Arsenal in round 3, but they've beaten Bristol, Chelsea, Burnley, and Sheffield United to make it to the final. Should that be celebrated for Man City, a team of their quality? Of course it should, because they've got to another final, and it's bang on.
They also haven't conceded a goal while going to it. First club ever done that.
Oh wow, I didn't even know that stat. That's amazing. Man United is the most hated club by rivals. Well, we're everybody's rivals. I even saw Brighton fans when I saw it was the camera was on a woman in the crowd. Like Man United name was announced for something in the stadium, and the Brighton fans booed. I'm like, Brighton fans booing us. We're everybody's biggest rival. It's amazing.
Don't you love it though, Terry? I personally love that. I love being hated by everyone.
I do though, but I don't like the narratives that then get kind of twisted by the media into sort of a proxy fact, and that is what will happen. And I don't like that because I think you've got to give team credit where credit is due. That's just the way I've always been as an individual, as it were. And I fought for other clubs, and I'm definitely gonna stand by my club. Did Arsenal overachieve this season? Of course, Arsenal have overachieved based on preseason expectations. There's no doubt about it. 110%. Everybody knows that. We have used Chelsea, Liverpool's drop-off excuse versus Arsenal. There's no such thing. There's no such thing. I went and checked today. I only checked the last 15 years, barring the Centurion season. Every other year for the last 15 years, Man United would be 3rd or 4th with the amount of points that we've got. So us achieving has nothing to do with Liverpool and Chelsea dropping off. It's because we have won those games and earned those points. It's a simple.
But Terry, no one's got that. I say this all the time. Football now has become so right now. Like I've seen a comment. I won't say who said it. I've seen a comment in your chat that's talking about, well, if Arsenal finish 2nd, Man U finish 4th, but with the League Cup, who's had the better season? Now we can have that debate all you want, but football's not about one season. If I'm an Arsenal fan, which I'm not, obviously, they're my rivals, so this is going to be painful to say nice things about them. If I'm an Arsenal fan, if I'm not looking at this season and going from where we were last year and the year before to where we are now is huge strides forward to where we want to be for the next 5-10 years, there's something very wrong with me as a fan if I can't look beyond 1 year in which we weren't even expected to get top 4 football.
And that's where me and Lee Gunner had a lot of fights, because I understand his standards, but he
I
doesn't
get
like
that.
but he doesn't like celebrate. Me and him have the same standards, but he doesn't celebrate the step change and progression in
To
between.
get to it.
Where I'm somebody that does. And if people actually look at my tweet yesterday that calls this whole ruckus, I'm talking about what Ten Hag has done with Man United being an overachievement, not the club in general overachieving. Ten Hag can only be judged for the 9 to 10 months he's been here. He has no responsibility for the shit show that's come before. The same as the new Tottenham manager that turns up. It's not going to be his fault what happened last year. You'll judge him based on his improvements, but then you can also step back and look at the club. We're not where we want to be, but as an individual season, year one into our rebuild, Ten Hag's done a phenomenal job so far, and we're only, in my opinion, with the right investment, going to get better. And I think that's what, Sav, is what rattles a lot of the rivals online, is they can see a very positive future for Man United.
But Terry, what I don't get is, right, so by some fan standards, right, Chelsea have underachieved, Liverpool have underachieved, Arsenal have underachieved, United have underachieved. So is everyone meant to be winning the title at the same time? Are 5 teams winning the league at once?
And at the same time, all those rivals will say if City win the league, this is the greatest Premier League team of all time. But at the same time, saying that everybody else is underachieving. It makes no sense. And this is the problem with the logic. It's funny as a bit of a joke, and then we all laugh at it. But people are really pushing this as a serious opinion. Based on that logic, you can say, well, what City and Liverpool are achieving now is only because Arsenal and Chelsea and Man United started to be run poorly, and we lost our stranglehold and control in England. Because if we'd have done the right thing after Fergie, we would have hired Pep before City, which means maybe Man City would have got Klopp. That would have changed the outlook. Like, how far do you take this warped logic of, well, only because we're underachieved, have you achieved, therefore your achievement isn't real? It's fucking insane. Like, there's banter, and then there's just insanity. And I do believe we're moving into the realms of the fandom now, where it's like insanity. Slyking here says, read it properly, Terry. The fella in the grey said that they never used the pool, and Liverpool have dropped off to diminish Arsenal this season. Fans have. I thought he was. Sorry, maybe I read it
about me.
Fans have definitely used it against Arsenal. They've definitely used it. City aren't as good this year against Arsenal, and it's bullshit. It's the only way that would make sense if Arsenal had the same amount of points as last year, were losing like they were last year, but everybody else had dropped off to a point where they were first. You could make that argument, but to suggest Arsenal haven't improved this year or United haven't improved, it's just, honestly, I know it's banter, but it's proper shit. It's proper shit banter. Like, it's proper dead. This here says, gentlemen, please, we'll come back. Okay. Please, gentlemen, say with the honest truth, Arsenal finished second with no trophy. Man United finished third or fourth with a trophy. Who has had the better season? For me, it's Man United. Who would you say, Gal?
Listen, I'd rather have a trophy, but at the end of the day, since we finished trophyless, you're gonna say the team that won the trophy had the better season. But regardless, I'm happy with my team's progression, and I think we're gonna have a better season next season, regardless.
I think in 5 years, 10 years, when you go back and you look at seasons, you don't really look at, oh, who progressed that year, who did this, who did that. You're gonna remember the teams by what they won, and that's the standard that I've always held my team by. This is the standard I judge everyone by. When I go back and I check the table 5 years ago, or the season 5 years ago, just show me who won the league, who won the cup, who won the Champions League. That's the only thing I'm going to remember. I'm not going to remember a team that was progressing, they did well, the XYZ, and then the next season they went on to push, blah, blah, blah. That's all nice. That's all nice to talk about within the season. But it gets forgotten. The only people that get remembered are the winners. So when you go back and you see a team got a double, a team got a treble, a team won one cup, whatever, you're going to remember these things. You're going to be like, oh, they must have had a good year because they won a trophy. That's what. So let me
ask you a question. Let me ask you a question then on the basis of that. That's all well and good if you want to look at one season as a one-off season. But
correct.
Football clubs, the reason, like, again, God, I'm about to say nice things about Arsenal. Surely the whole point of Arsenal changing which one of the family was running the club, right? I believe that the son stepped in and runs the club now, right? They brought in Edu as director of football. They brought in Arteta as manager. Surely when you put all that together as a business and as a football club, you say, right, what is the strategy of this club? The strategy of this club is we want to do that, right? Now, if they've gone 8th FA Cup, 8th, 5th, 2nd, now in talking about signing players like Declan Rice, who would never have gone to them if they weren't in the champ. Not saying you've got him, but if they get a player like that, would never have gone to them before. Are we then saying that rather than all that progression, rather than all that, if Arsenal finished 8th this year and won the League Cup, they'd have had a better year than if they finish on 90 points and second behind arguably the best team in world football?
Sava, if you ask me who progressed more within a year, that's, to me, that's different than asking who had a more successful year, because success is not measured on one thing. Trophies to me is the pinnacle of it, but also you got to measure the progression within the season. I do agree with you, but I'm just adding a little bit more to it. I feel like you can say this team progressed and competed for the league this year. I'm going to be like, all right, the table doesn't lie. If you finish second, third, you were actually that good that year. However, if you say, while I am competing, I went far in European competitions, I won an FA Cup, I won a League Cup, to me, that is more than just saying, well, I progressed, I went up in the league. However, I did not win anything with it. Actually, not just that, I got eliminated very early in every stage of these cups. That's the difference between Man United's season and Arsenal's seasons. Arsenal's season, you see more progression.
You're
than
just
United
bigging. You're just bigging up your own club here.
I have to, bro. No, I actually
listen.
am.
Yeah, but that's what I
100%.
mean. This is what I mean. I'll say it. All football sense has gone out the window because you're more worried about your reputation of your own club than facts.
I agree with. Listen. For me, there's a hybrid answer here of both. And Sav, what you said is true. This is why Arsenal's season, and we're going to get onto Arsenal later in the show, people, so stay with us. Even if Arsenal fall away from this title race, yes, they can be called bottle jobs in terms of this year, the title race. But I think Arsenal fans can still go into the summer very excited about the future. The thing is with Man United this season, I also think we're progressing. We're not quite where Arsenal are. But I agree with what you said, Sav. For me, when people keep saying to me, oh, whose rebuild do you think is going to be better? Arteta's or Ten Hag's? And the way I view it is very simple. There'll always be semantics and there'll always be angles that people will go with. United's net spend was higher. Your wage bill was bigger. Your first trophy was a League Cup. Ours was an FA Cup, whatever it may be. For me, I will look at it in 5 years' time and look at who won the most. I'll look at a period of time to say who won. And if Man United win more trophies or more, have a bigger catalogue of bigger trophies than Arsenal, we win 2 Prems, a Champions League, an FA Cup, and a League Cup, and they win. Then I'd look at
what I said, Terry.
No,
That's what I said. It's not about 1 year, is it?
I agree.
It's not about 1 year.
I still think there can be a conversation around who's had better years and whatever else. But I think where I draw the line is if people go, yeah, United was brilliant because we won a trophy. Arsenal was shit because they didn't do anything. For me, that's
not what I said.
No, that's why I'm saying there's a hybrid answer. For me, everything doesn't have to be polarized. And that's the same thing with this overachieving thing. I'm clearly stating when I speak that Ten Hag, year one, has massively overachieved with what we expected before the season began. Yeah, but overall, United are underachieving. But that isn't what I'm talking about. You're going on to a very different debate. I'm being very specific about what I'm talking about. And I think that's the issue. People don't like to see rivals get any kind of praise. So they talk.
You want to know the honest truth, Terry? No,
Go on, mate.
Even Arsenal fans who would agree with Staffy and say they would rather have the trophy would still probably want to be in our position regardless. So next season, you still want to be in Arsenal's position coming off finishing second and still challenging. But if you look at it on a singular season, of course, the team that wins silverware is going to be more remembered. That's why we make fun of Tottenham. Like,
I hear you.
Man, I'm sticking up for you down here.
No.
I'm sticking up for you, and you're throwing grenades.
No, but I'm not Slava. I'm just changing.
Can we talk about Man City Arsenal now, Terry? I'm going in.
Just before that, Saba, if you won the FA Cup this season, and you finish 5th, and the team that finishes 4th gets Champions League football, and they don't win the league, obviously you'd rather be the team that wins the trophy, right?
But it all depends, doesn't it? It all depends. Is it a flash in the pan? Are we making? Do you know what I mean?
Let me state no other context, just singly this season. Tottenham were somehow to win an FA Cup. Would it not be a more successful season than all your previous seasons?
For Tottenham, yes. Context.
Okay, so context
is important.
So that's the context in which I'm looking at it from. Basically, I'm looking at it
for us. Yes,
context.
I get that. Bison here says, I think expectations of Man United have changed mid-season, so I wouldn't say you have overachieved. Real overachievers are Brighton, as they will get Europe. Yeah, I think Brighton have overachieved, and I haven't suggested we're a bigger overachievement than them. And I think your expectations during the season can change based on, we've got a really good chance of winning the FA Cup now. Not as much as City, but we've got a good chance. So, yeah, I want to go and win it. But that doesn't mean you throw away what you expected at the beginning of the season. I was angry we didn't win the Europa League, but I didn't expect us to even get where we got to at the start of the season. So, yeah, I understand where you're coming from, but I still think we're overachievers. That's a good point. Who cares who had the better season? Why are people so obsessed with this question? It literally doesn't affect anything.
We're just answering questions. Fans are asking us. We're here to talk.
All ego talk is what TBG has got to say here.
Shut down all YouTube channels. There's no point talking about any of it.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me, Terrace.
Out here, we're finished. United is the biggest club in England, and hence more hated. As an international Arsenal fan, the hatred comes from the fact that many international United fans are high roaders, crowd followers with limited knowledge of football. Do you know what I'd say, Ricky, though? I hear that said about the beauty of the channel that and community we've created on the Terrace. I hear all fans say that about all fans. Like all fans think the referees are against them. The FA's got an agenda against them. The media's against them. We all kind of see things through that lens, Ricky. But great super chat, my friend. Thank you. This here says big love from Spain. Big love from the current Spurs fan on here. I don't know where it's Spain. My dyslexia in big time then. Big love for the current Spurs fan on here, but Spurs completely deserved yesterday and this whole season disaster is what he said there. He's put another super chat in. I'll wait for KJ to star it for me, and then I'm going to put it up on the screen. There it is. It says Jordan smirk and laugh at us all summer when he said we'd make top 4 and have had a good window, and Patrick said we'd finish 10 points above us, obviously being an Arsenal fan. This was the thing as well. And one of the reasons why United still have overachieved, on this show, we run a poll the end of January on the top 6 show and said, will Man United make the top 4 or win a trophy? And 72% of that poll said no. So now everybody says that mid-season things change. But even then you said we wouldn't achieve anything. So, yeah, people have got to hold them L's. They absolutely do. Speaking of holding L's, we'll move on to Arsenal in a bit, but I want to speak a little bit about Chelsea, actually. But before we do that, actually, I want to say a big shout out. We're doing a raffle prize for the FA Cup final. First YouTube channel to ever do this. We're giving away 2 tickets at Wembley, and I'm personally going to give you £250 spending money for the day. So, that can be, some beer tokens, some food, accommodation, maybe for travel. Raffle tickets are on sale. It's just £3.50 to enter. Full disclosure. 2 tickets can be won. Scan the QR code on the screen above my head or click on the link in the description below now. You can buy as many tickets as you want. The tickets, if you go onto the sites, tickets are very expensive for that final. You might be able to win one for £3.50. So you can enter now. Link in the description. As I say, 2 tickets. They're next to each other as well. They're already purchased by me. All the information is on the website that we're hosting the raffle on. The Friday week before the final, the draw will happen at 7:30 at night automatically. The winner will be emailed and sent all the information. We'll do the bank transfer, and I will then obviously transfer the tickets into your name. If you want to be in that hat, scan that QR code or click on the link in our description below to enter now. Chelsea. Poch looks like he's going to become the manager. He's the favourite to become the manager at Chelsea. Good bit of business from Mo.
That's all right. Poch is a good to work with these youngsters. To be honest, I think that there was. I thought that they would go for the short-term plans. I thought Luis Enrique was. If I was a Chelsea fan, it would be my top candidate just because of the style of football they wanted to play, and he suits that, and he gets players better. But Poch is a proven coach that worked in the Premier League for years. I think he's one of the reasons he took Spurs to the next level. Yes, they didn't win a trophy under him, but he was a great coach with them. I think it's okay for them to have Pochettino, but Chelsea fans need to be patient because they're not going to win a trophy with him soon. I think he's a stepping stone. Pochettino, they need to get the players going and assist him and get everybody together, but they will need to move on to a coach that will win them a trophy, because Poch is not going to win them a trophy. It's very unlikely that he will win them a trophy, to be honest.
I think, Terry, they're setting up Poch for failure, because a certain portion of the fan base will never be okay with Pochettino, because of, one, what he said about the trophy thing. Number two, I don't know. I've spoken to some Chelsea fans, match-going Chelsea fans, and they told me that a lot of their friends that go to the games and stuff wouldn't be okay with Pochettino. And when he comes in, maybe they might change their mind and they might try to turn themselves around to it. But it's going to be a thing where he's already going to have a black mark against him, previously working at Tottenham, having the history of not winning trophies in the Premier League with Tottenham. And yes, he has a history of working with a young squad, and that might be what they need. But it might be like Rafa Benitez 2.0, as KY said in the comment section. They don't really do well with managers who previously worked at other clubs in the Premier League. They do have a little thing against them. So let's see. But yeah, I don't know if I don't know if you would know better than me, Sava, but Chelsea fans don't seem to be a big fan of Pochettino. And some of the ones that are, like Monster and my boy Monster and them, they might be a fan of him, but it seems like a majority. It seems like another divisive decision that Todd Bowley could make.
He'll be sacked within 2 seasons. It's going to be the exact same thing. They won't sign a striker again in the summer, and lo and behold, they'll wonder why they aren't scoring goals. It's almost as if you need a number 9 and a striker to score goals, and then they'll decide, oh, it must be the manager. Let's sack him. Let's bring in another, quote, project manager. They'll get rejected by another project manager like Nagelsmann. That's why he rejected them, because he was like, I've just seen what you've done with Graham Potter. I'm not going near that. And it's going to be the same thing, because Bowley doesn't actually know what he's doing, clearly.
Bro, I've said that 100 times. Big up.
1 second, Egal. I think it's ironic that the one person on this panel that said that you need a striker to score goals is a Man City fan, considering that you won the league last year with no striker.
Pep City cannot be compared to any form of Chelsea. That's an outlier and a half.
I agree. I'm agreeing with you. I'm not saying anyone can play close to how Pep plays, anyways. But I just thought it was funny that it came for you. Could have came from anyone else, it would have been okay, but you. But here's my thing. Back to what Egal said. And I sent a super chat last week on the Top 6 show. I think Have Hope was on, and you guys were discussing the next Chelsea manager. For the life of me, I cannot understand why Chelsea, in the situation that they're in right now, are turning their nose on Poch just because he managed in Spurs. First of all, you've been a bigger club than Spurs, so it's not like someone leaving Man City going to Man United or Liverpool to Man United. That's different. There's genuine hatred there because we're always close to each other. That you can understand. I don't think Chelsea should be that angry that someone who managed Spurs before is going to Chelsea, because you've been considered the bigger club. You've officially been the bigger club for a while. Okay, that's my first point. My second point is Poch is the only one from that list that has previous experience in the Premier League. And that's what I said last week on the show. I said between Enrique, Nagelsmann, and Poch, I personally think Poch is the perfect solution for Chelsea, because he has worked with Southampton before he even went to Spurs, did a good job there. That's why he got the Spurs job. Went to Spurs. He dealt with this the golden generation of Spurs that we know we didn't win, but like they've kind of pushed over the limits for, by Spurs standards, going to the Champions League final, finishing in the top 4 for about 6-7 years in a row, finishing the top of Arsenal for so long. That team he built with a bunch of nobodies at the time. Kane was a nobody coming out of the academy. Son was like from Bayer Leverkusen. You had the Tongan and Toby Alderweireld that just came from Ajax. Eriksson was still known coming from Ajax. These players became good under Poch. We've recognized how good they are under Poch. So this guy already has previous experience with dealing with young and upcoming talent. And Chelsea is nothing more than young and upcoming talent right now. When you look at most of their squad, they've signed a lot of players at the age of 20, 21, 22, and 23 to build for the future. Poch has already done something like that with no backing from his club at the time. He went 2 years with 0 signings because they were building a stadium, and he massively overachieved with the tools that he was given at the time. So when you give him Todd Bowley, who can actually give him so much more to deal with, not that he already hasn't with all these signings that he's made in 1 year, but having someone like Todd Bowley and his wallet next to what Poch did with limited resources in his time in the Premier League, and he has the experience in the Premier League, I can't understand why Chelsea fans would rather go for anyone else but him
That's just me, though.
Do you know what? Go on, Sav. Go on, Sav.
Yeah, listen. Look, Pochettino's a fantastic coach. He's a fantastic coach. I don't know how good his management is in big moments. Actually, I do know how good his management is in big moments. But there's a lot of truth to what was just said there. Like, Pochettino was working wonders with a much more limited squad at Tottenham, where we literally had a bare 11. What Pochettino's superpower is as a manager is working with young, hungry players that have got good legs. Don't mean to look at, I mean in an engine. They've got good engines on them, can get around the pitch, that can press, that can play his game, which is why he was successful at Southampton and Espanyol and at Tottenham. The problem is, you go to Man City, those players, not Man City, you go to PSG, those players aren't doing that. You're not getting Neymar, Messi, and that to run around like headless chickens for you. What he's got at Chelsea, he's picking up lots of young signings that they've bought that are good players. There's good players in there, the likes of Enzo Fernandez, Mudryk, Badashili, Fofana. Now already when you look at Reece James, Ben Chilwell, players like Kovacic, Kante's engine, Madueke, and Kunku's still got to come in. Poch will get them organised. He will have them in a year where they haven't got European football. So he'll be able to get them playing once a week. They'll be fresh. They'll be able to press every single game. This is perfect for Poch, and I think perfect for Chelsea. Problem again, as we just said about individual seasons, Chelsea fans, can they get past what they want to be and what they have been versus what they are now? If they can acknowledge now they're in a massive transition and a true rebuild from the good times, then Poch is brilliant for them. However, last thing I'll say, the question mark is, can he get them over the line? Can he get over the line? He'll have better players than he had at Tottenham, right? But can he get them over the line? Because that's what Chelsea will judge him on. And Chelsea will sack him if he doesn't win anything immediately. That's where they'll go wrong. Give the guy a few years. Let him bring in a top striker. Even if you're bringing Lukaku back, he'll score you some goals, right? And Kunku coming into that team as well. You know, he'll love Mudryk. He'll do with Mudryk what he did with Heung-min Son. I think Poch is a great shout for Chelsea, not for Spurs. I think it's a great shout.
I have a question, Terry, about Poch. Do we think that Poch is going, that Chelsea board chose Poch because they don't want to buy more players? Yes, we're hearing about the overhaul. Every other coach will ask for players. Maybe they think Poch is going to work with what he had. They're going to let go of some players, but he's going to work with the squad they have. Nagelsmann is going to want players. Luis Enrique is going to want players already. And everybody else is going to want players. Maybe Poch is the only one that's going to work with the squad they have already without any additions. They're going to get Lukaku back or whoever is going to be there. But I think maybe Chelsea are in financial trouble a little bit and they won't get more players. They just want someone who will work with what they have. And Chelsea fans need to accept that at some point.
Just very, very quickly, not to interject, breaking news just out 2 minutes ago from Matt Law, and I quote, let me just get this out here. Mauricio Pochettino is now on the brink of becoming the new Chelsea head coach as negotiations enter what should be the final phase. Poch is expected to take the job with his 4-man brain trust, is the exact words of him. So that looks done and dusted. That Mauricio Pochettino is going to be the new head coach. So it went from me saying like it looks like he's the favorite. Matt Law literally tweeted that. When did he tweet it? 3 minutes ago. So yeah, it looks like it's going to be Poch. And I agree with what Sava said. I think he's going to the football will be good. They'll move the ball well. I think players like Mykhailo Mudryk will come alive. I think Mason Mount might stay now because he likes a homegrown kid and everything else. But can he get over the line? Does he have that's the big question. And I want to put that out to the viewers. Does Poch, as a manager, have the bottle to get Chelsea over the line? Because Chelsea's ultimate goal, year one, it won't be to win the Prem probably or the Champions League. They're not even going to be in it. But over a 2 to 3 year period, Chelsea's goal is winning Prems and winning Champions League, surely. So, in your opinion, Egal, does Poch have the minerals forget the coaching ability, but the minerals to get Chelsea over the line to win those big trophies. Will this be a good appointment?
Will it be a good appointment? I don't know. I need to see how they actually run the recruitment, because I question Chelsea's recruitment. I question a lot of things, but Pochettino will come in there and he'll get them playing decent football. But will he ever get them to the top to win trophies, to win major honors? I don't think he will, and I think he's destined for failure. I think Chelsea Football Club at this moment in time are a big question marks over how they're running the club, and whoever comes in there is going to have a tough test to see how they manage working with the new ownership. And he'll be able to work with the new ownership. He'll be able to be a yes man. He'll be able to come in there and have experience being in the Premier League. But overall, I don't think he'll get them to any success. And I think at the end of it, it will be they'll sack him and try to bring in a more experienced, a better overall winner. And I think it's going to be similar to what happened at Arsenal. You're going to have a large portion of the fan base who are going to want him out immediately when he walks in, similar to how we had that with Arteta.
Egal, I think you're saying that based on tribalism, though. I respect your opinion, but I think it's the Arsenal fan in you saying that, because the same judgment is not going to be used with Arteta, because if Arteta doesn't get you over the line, you're not going to say that. And because Poch what Poch did with Spurs is in a way similar to Arsenal, because he was also like a young upcoming manager who made him play an attractive style of football. Not the exact same way. I know the Arsenal team is better drilled than the Spurs team back then, but he was a young upcoming manager who kind of like, went far with a team that no one expected him to do much, and he didn't get them over the line for one reason or another. And he gets judged now like that. But I don't think, as an Arsenal fan, or not just you, most Arsenal fans won't say that about Arteta if he doesn't get you guys over the line. So I think it's a bit unfair to use it with one guy but not the other.
Listen, when it comes to my fan base, I disagree with the majority of the time. But what I'm going to say is I'm seeing it even from the reactions to how Chelsea fans are reacting to Pochettino news right now. It's very split. So until we see them change and come in unison and back Pochettino, I don't know how it's going to end up for him. I really do believe Chelsea is not a normal place. They're not like any of our clubs currently. You go into Chelsea knowing that you have a short leash, and things can turn very quickly.
They've been very spoiled. That's why they do that. They're used to, if your manager doesn't do well by the end of the year, he's out. They've went through so many seasons where they had multiple managers.
And until they show me patience, who am I to believe Chelsea fans have patience?
Which is what Bowley said. We gave him the benefit of the doubt on why he got rid of Graham Potter, because the results were too bad to what they expected. The original plan was to give him time. The original plan is that we are now going to be ran different than what Roman Abramovich did. Not that there's no more musical chairs with the managers every season. But he took them too low to a point where they're like, all right, well, we can't drop that low to be patient with the manager, so we'll give him that. But based on what they said in the new Tabelli era, they will be giving managers time. So I guess we're going to have to wait and see if that's true or not.
Yeah, we'll see. Is he going to come in, Terry, before the season ends, you think, or before? Because
did they say?
I'm just looking at the article now. I have to read. It's quite a long. It's Matt Law. It's detailed. I'm not too sure, but they should bring him early. Maybe they'll. I don't see the point of waiting. I know that a lot of Chelsea fans spun this narrative of no manager wants to come in now. They want a clean break in the summer. I think now is the best time to see players in real action, to know who's right, you get real life games as like a preseason, rather than him coming in and then having 6 weeks to decide which 15 players he's got to get rid of from his squad. This gives him a longer period of time. The only reason that Man United didn't bring in Ten Hag at the end of last season was because he was in a title race with Ajax. He would have loved to have come. That's why he didn't take any break. He literally went from lifting his trophy of Ajax. The next day he was in his office in Manchester, because managers want to get in as soon as possible. But look, Poch is such an interesting one for me. I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and lie and blow smoke up Chelsea fans' asses. I think he'll play really good football, but I just don't know if he can get over the line. Even at PSG, I feel he relatively underachieved, considering that he was in a one-horse race. And the way I look at it is this: a lot of people might think coming. Would you say, Mo, that coming second in a beauty competition is a good thing?
No.
Or if he comes second in a beauty contest, you're going to be looked at as pretty beautiful, right?
Yeah, but it's not. That's not how it works. They have to win. This club is used to winning.
Indulge me on my example. Would you say, Sab?
Okay, it's all right. It'll be beautiful.
Yeah, but if you come second in a beauty contest, but you were the only one who entered, what does it say about you? See, go with the indulgence on the joke. You know what I mean? That's the point I'm making. And that's Poch is a little bit that for me. You know,
my God.
He'd come second in a beauty contest if he was the only one in it.
You're bashing him so much.
No, it's not. I think he plays beautiful football. I think there'll be loads of positives from this for Chelsea. But is he going to be good enough?
It's time frames, Terry. It's time frames.
Champions League. I don't know.
It's time frames. You look at it now, and I need to bounce in 60 seconds. If you look at the Premier League now, you've got Newcastle who are going to get Champions League football and spend money. You've got Man City up there, Arsenal up there, Liverpool will be back up there, Man United are up there. The problem is Chelsea fans will expect in year one, Poch hasn't won anything. It goes back down to this. He hasn't won anything. He's not been successful. For me, this Chelsea team, they've bought them all young for a reason. They need to build and grow as a team. And from the 14 signings Chelsea made, 12 of them were 24 or under. That tells me everything I need to know, plus all of the young players coming through. And you'll see the best of all those players that could, even players like Conor Gallagher. His pressing, Poch will love that. Mount, he'll love that. He'll do a good job. But if Chelsea fans think they're going to win a league title next year, and that's what they're going to judge Poch on, then he's on a hiding to nothing.
I totally agree. I know you've got a chip, Sav.
Yeah, I've got to go. Thanks, guys.
Cheers, mate.
Much love, everyone. Bye-bye.
We have some super chats here. Winter Surfer says, from a Chelsea fan, Poch has never insulted us unlike Rafa. The squad is suited more to Poch than Enrique, who says we won't buy a striker. Nagelsmann expected to be handed the role. Why? And I've seen a lot of Chelsea fans talk about that, almost this notion of this here from Simon, who says that Nagelsmann kind of expected to just be made the manager as opposed to going through the process. Why should he be spoon-fed the job after he was just sacked? And I think there's some fairness in that personally. I don't think Nagelsmann's, he ain't Pep Guardiola. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't know why he thinks that he should be just walking into these roles. Chelsea Blue says, I don't want Poch at Chelsea, but what I will say is he will help develop our youth and help build a team that's a better team than what we have now. Yeah, probably will. If he wins a trophy next season, it's overachieving. Hey, I like that. Well, we'll see what the preseason expectations are, my friend. But it could very much be.
If they get top four, it's overachieving.
Yeah, do you know what? What I will say is this: Poch coming back to the Prem and managing Chelsea, it just makes our league even more exciting because he is going to play good football. They will become competitive again. Newcastle are going to keep getting better. Man United will probably improve. Arsenal are back up near the top now. City are going nowhere. The Premier League is why we're the best league in the world.
I could already imagine. I can already imagine if they're playing good football but they're not winning, they're gonna be angry because that's all they've been telling us. They've been telling us for the years that we don't care about good football. We only care about winning. So if they play good football but they're still not winning anything, they're gonna be upset.
Listen, it's gonna be amazing. Whatever happens, I'm very, very excited about it. Hussein here says Arsenal on 8 Mile settings, they're choking, palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy. I thought you were gonna put there's vomit on his sweater and mum's spaghetti. But see, I knew that line. That's my era. Do you know what I mean? They're hilarious. Banter club pending. They start saying second place is great. Can't wait for the collapse on Wednesday.
Typical.
I mean, that's a super chat. I don't control the super chats per se, but I wanted to say, like, it's such a big game now on Wednesday for Arsenal. They have to beat City. None of us on Friday's Top 6 show expected that Southampton game, which was for a neutral that has no real, like, genuine emotion to the game. It was an amazing game to watch, not for Gooners. Is that it for you now, Dodds? Do you feel like Arsenal have choked under the pressure? Or do you still see a sting in this title race, in the tail of this title race? Can Arsenal... Sorry.
You're choking now.
My chest infection came through. Can you see Arsenal beating City Wednesday night?
No. Top 4 0.
Oh, wow.
winning the Premier League is over. We're not beating City. I watched our performance against Southampton. There's something about our team now. When it comes to pressure, Partey, amazing all season. Crunch time of part of the season, playing awful. Played awful against Southampton. We have Saliba. There's news now coming out that Saliba's out against Man City. So we've got Rob Holding against Erling Haaland. If Rob Holding is struggling against Southampton's defense, what is he going to do against Erling Haaland and Kevin De Bruyne and Grealish? And I thought we dropped 6 points in our last 3 games. If we had them 6 points, losing against City would have been I would have said, losing against City wouldn't have a major impact. But now we have to go there and win, which is very, very unlikely, especially with the way we're performing now. I don't see any way of City not winning this game and winning it comfortably. I see City winning this game 3-1, and I'm a very, very positive guy. I've been very, very positive all season, but now the crunch time part of the season, City have done it every single year. They know how to perform. And now Sheffield Wednesday and the weekend FA Cup basically resting their first 11. So they've got a fully fit team. The only positive is that they might not have Ake against us. So that might be a bit of a positive sack against Laporte. But as overall, I don't think we've got any chance of beating City.
You love to hear it.
Listen, it's not over till it's over. I don't know this whole defeatist mentality. I don't like it. I get
Egal, there's no defeatist. It's being realistic now.
I get it. Being realistic, being defeatist, whatever you want to call it. At this moment in time, we can't go into this game with the mentality that we've already lost. Because if that's the mentality we go into it with, that's gonna go take us back to before we signed Odegaard and Ramsdale and we lost 5-0 at City. That's the kind of attitude that we had back then. We can't take ourselves back to that attitude, even though we don't have Saliba, even though we don't have that we're gonna have either Rob Holding or something else. This is where Arteta makes his money. This is where the managers separate themselves from being average managers to great managers. When you're faced with adversity, when the chips are down, when you have squad issues, you need to find a solution. And I'm hoping that Mikel Arteta makes a solution, because if he plays the same team, yes, you're right. We're destined for the same fate that we've had over the last couple of games where we have poor performances. But if we make changes and Mikel Arteta makes some changes in this team to try to get us in the right direction, that's where you can see the improvements in the performance. That's where you can see where we maybe can stifle City. And it's not about going there and saying, oh, play the same team, same setup, same way with Rob Holding and everything else and accept a different result, because that's insanity at this point.
And I agree with you. I feel sorry, bro. Just wanted to go on what Egal said. I agree with Egal, actually. I feel like if you want to be a great team, come on, like let's be honest. If you're a champion, it means you are a great team. So if you want to be great, you have to overcome moments like this. No one is ever going to win the league by just, beating the bottom half of the table, and just like losing, to the top 6 because, why are we supposed to beat City at home or Liverpool at home or these teams at their home? You know what I mean? I feel like a game like this is where Arteta actually does make his money. If Arteta wins this game, he's going to gain a lot of respect from so many haters, because this is what you're getting paid for. You've gotten this team this far. You're sitting here wearing his scarf and you don't believe in him. Like that's weird for me. If you back this,
no, I'm being realistic. No, because that's not twisted.
You can be realistic and expect something, but you do look a little bit defeated. Like Egal said, I appreciate Egal. Listen, Egal gets all this hate on this channel being called deluded and whatnot, but Egal is backing his team in a big game.
No, but how long can you stay positive for? How long can you stay positive? You have to stay
positive
all the way to the last game of the season.
You have until the game is being played.
No, but if you're sitting down, Nobbin smiling down there. Sorry,
I'm just vibing.
I watched the way.
I see the smirk.
I watched the way.
Here and that him. But
I watched.
Sorry,
I know, but I watched the way Man City performed against Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich are an elite club. They made them look average out in both legs. And if they're doing that to a Bayern Munich team, what chances do we have? So that's what I'm being realistic.
You don't think you're better than Bayern this year?
We are.
100%.
No, but yes. Yeah. But we've got a couple of injuries. With the lineup that we have right now, we're not better than Bayern Munich. That lineup that we have right now.
On paper, you're not. But football is not won or lost on paper.
Okay, and then I'll give you. when people say everyone talks about Arsenal had no injuries. If you look at our strongest lineup with Saliba and Gabriel Jesus in the lineup, they've only played together, that full lineup, 6 times this season. So with this lineup, I would have said we've got a chance of beating Man City. But
listen, I've seen my team over the years go to San Siro with Johnny Evans in defense and get a win there.
But this is probably arguably the best side ever. You could say
this is your best side in the past maybe 20 years.
No, so, but this is
listen. I'm not really disagreeing with you on so many things. I know City is better, but like Egal said it perfectly. This is when Arteta makes his money. If he goes in and he gets a win from the Lions Den, you're going to the Lions Den right now. Well, they like to be called Sharks. I don't know what it's called when it comes to Sharks, but you're going to swim with the Sharks right now. If you come out alive, Arteta's going to get respect that he's never gotten before. It's going to be his highest point of his career. And all you guys who backed Arteta for all these years, this is the pinnacle. You're going to be 8 points ahead of them in the league. You're going to be favorites now to win the league mathematically. This is the moment that you guys have been waiting for these past 3 years. Every Arteta believer in the past 3 years, since the minute he took over the job until now, this is the day that you guys have been waiting for, because now he's either making it or he's breaking it.
Okay.
And I feel like you should back
this is I want to say answer Miguel 1 second. There's two questions. This is not to do with Arteta right now. This is to do with how we're going to perform against Man City on Wednesday. Mikel Arteta, I still trust him. I still know that he will do better next season. I mean, not better, sorry. That the process, I'm trusting the process. I know we'll get better next season. The overall, we've done excellent. Finishing second, even if we do finish second, the progression has been massive. But just talking about the game itself against Man City on Wednesday, I don't see us winning that game at all.
So you see no way where Arteta can go into this game and tactically do Pep.
We aren't
because I've seen Ole do it, and Ole's not a good manager. He's managed to get wins off him.
It's not even about just outdoing Pep, because Pep's going to make changes in the game to try to match whatever you do. It's just not going in there with the same team and the same setup that we have had over the last 3 games. We all know, everyone sitting here, if Arsenal play the exact same 11 and play the exact same way that we played at home versus Southampton, away versus West Ham, and away versus Liverpool, it's curtains for us. We need to make a change. Be it change it to a system change, make it a back 3, be it put new personnel in the right back position and move Ben White, or be it put somebody else in center half position instead of Rob Holding, because systematically we cannot play the same way that we play with Saliba and with Rob Holding. And that's where the mistake is. Mikel Arteta against Leeds and Crystal Palace, we can play Rob Holding and get away with his deficiencies. But away against Liverpool, we got exposed. Away against West Ham, the same things happened and we didn't really change. So we kind of got found out. And then versus Southampton, you've seen the combination of everything come to light. And in the last 10 minutes, the most embarrassing part of it was when Mikel Arteta made changes, we actually look like we can compete. We actually look like the team of old. Those last 10 minutes, we actually look like a good squad. But where was that for the first 80 minutes of the game?
I hear all that. Welcome, Kaz, by the way, to the show. Look, Dawds, I want to ask you something. You said a second ago this is like nothing to do like with Mikel Arteta. But it is, because you're writing off this game and your title hopes because in the last 3 games, you've crumbled away from 2-0 leads and you almost got beat at home by one of the worst teams in the league. Who are you looking at as accountable for your last 3 matches? And for me, you may say this, I can't just accept that it's because Saliba's out. Saliba being out can't be the only reason. Surely, what are you looking at? Who is to blame for this capitulation that has led to you essentially saying it's a write-off now? Because I'm hearing a lot of stuff around what the issues are, but root cause analysis, what's the problem? Why have Arsenal really dropped the ball in the last 3 matches?
Before you answer, Terry, thank you for having me. I got to drop right now.
All right, bro. No worries.
I'm growing on the channel.
Right, cheers,
yes,
bro.
You back us up, okay?
Cheers, mate. Bye.
The root cause, I think, if you look at it, the last 2 games, that had nothing to do with Mikel Arteta. Bukayo Saka missing that penalty, Then last game, Ramsdale making that mistake. Ramsdale hasn't made a mistake like that all season, and then does that mistake. Saka hasn't missed a penalty all season. Misses a penalty against West Ham. If we make it 3-1 against West Ham, we win the game. And it's when I say it's not Mikel Arteta's fault, the games I'm watching, we're always dominating, and it's Arteta cannot control the player's mindset. If they're dominating the game and then in a split second a player does something stupid, or a player gives a penalty away, how can you blame that on Mikel Arteta? Because he's doing everything right on his side. The tactics are correct. You can't say anything that Mikel Arteta after the game. What is he saying? That there's so many managers, for example, like Graham Potter. After the games and his post-match interviews, people are always saying, why is he saying that for? Why has he got like a defeated mentality? He's always saying, oh, you gave Mikel Arteta 3-4 years. Let me have the process as well. Arteta pre-game, post-game match interviews are always excellent. His tactics. So there's nothing to do with Mikel Arteta. These players have just lost their bottle. They haven't been.
So I can clarify, you don't believe that a manager is accountable for his team's overall mentality?
That's a very hard question, Terry, because it's the players, they've showed all season they've got bottle, but for some reason, the last 2 games or the last 3 games, there's something that just clicked, and then there's something that's just like switched, where they think that when there's a little bit of adversity, if that's the right word, they struggle, and
So
they think.
I completely disagree.
So just very quick, I want to get Dord's answer. So if it isn't the manager and it's players, which of these players have got to go? Because clearly, if they ain't got the mentality and the manager's not accountable for making it better, then which of these players do you sell in the summer? Because there's no point having them if they're not good enough.
No, it's not that they're not good enough. It's that they haven't been in the situation before, and it might be a situation where 1, they're a young team, and number 2, they have never been in a title race, and it's something that where this could be a learning curve for them, where people say that, oh, now we've lost out on the title, next season we won't be in the title race. No, these players might learn and think, okay, next season in the last 10 games, we'll know what to do now, because the way we performed against Southampton in the first 45 minutes. That's not to do with the players' quality. That's to do with their mentality of how they perform. We give Southampton so many chances. Southampton should have been 2-0 up, 3-0 up, like 4-0 up by half time. And then it's not to do with the players' qualities. I think it was to do with the mentality and something that they can learn from next season.
One
Fair
second. Mikel Arteta,
Go on, Egal, go on, bro.
Mikel Arteta is fully to blame. He should have made a change. We can't go with the same team 3 games in a row. You see the same mistakes 3 games in a row. You see the same errors 3 games in a row. And you know how bad it is? The first error that Ramsdale made, it wouldn't happen if Saliba was on the pitch, because he would have made the simple pass to Saliba. But it almost seemed like, if you watch the game back, that in that Southampton game, they were bypassing Rob Holding in the build-up play. They weren't including him. They weren't even passing the ball to him. And when they did pass him the ball, it was strictly just to pass it to the next man next to him. Majority of the time, you see Gabriel to Ben White, Gabriel to Zinchenko, or Ramsdale straight to Partey. In the past, there was to Partey. He wasn't paying attention. He could have easily made that pass to Rob Holding, but instead he passed it to Partey. Partey didn't get the ball. The defenders took it off him. Immediate goal. Ramsdale's howler. I'm not blaming Holding, but I'm just saying systematically, if we had a better ball-playing center back in that situation, you would trust your teammate to pass him the ball instead of trying to force it into the midfield. And we've seen this. We haven't seen this happen all season. We haven't seen Ramsdale make that kind of mistake because he had the ball-playing center halves around him and the players with the ability to take the ball under control. And another thing, it's not about pressure as much, because the pressure for the penalty, I'll give it to you. Yes, there is pressure there, but it's not about pressure solely. It also has to do with the fact that we've changed. We have one of our key players out, and it's the same thing that happened last season. When key players are missing and we don't have the personnel to replace them, that's where you see City's squad depth, and you don't see ours as good as it is. As good as our squad depth has been with Gabriel Jesus and some of these other players out, we don't have the same level of quality in that center half position coming in for either Gabriel or Saliba.
But don't you think this is the coach's job to utilize what he has?
I agree.
Now?
I agree.
Yes. Okay. That's what I don't agree with Arsenal fans. It's like you're missing one player. They coach you to utilize what you have.
It's not one player. Don't forget Tomiyasu. Because if Tomiyasu was here, he would have played right back, and Ben White would have moved into the center half. I don't know why you're giving me that funny face, Kaz, but that's
because you know what? Yeah, you know what it is. Yeah, you screamed champ. If you're top of the league by when was it? January.
11th.
You've won the league. Yeah, cool. That's fine. Rob Holding, I hear it. Players are out. So in the way I'm looking at it for you, Egal, yeah, is you're telling me because you didn't have a Saliba for your build-up play, you couldn't bypass West Ham and you couldn't bypass Southampton. Why don't you just say it, bro? Your whole team pretty much capitulated. If anything, if I want to address one key area for you, it was pretty much the middle, where it's the most important part. It's Partey. Partey's really and truly the reason why I feel like you capitulated a little bit in these games after going 2-0 up. Or even at the start, Ramsdale set the tone, but Partey didn't help because he didn't cover. He hasn't been that good on the ball. He hasn't done the job he usually does. I wouldn't say Rob Holding is such a scapegoat. I hear it because my team does the same sometimes with Maguire when he's played well. And somehow, if we could see the goal, because Maguire didn't do that, because, I don't know, Lindelof didn't do this. Or one of those kind of things. You know, sometimes it's just, you're right, though. It is on Arteta, in my humble opinion, you know. But
okay. Can I
but
say
I just thought you can criticize your managers and you can criticize your players. But at the same time, that DM role, when it fluffs, you're open. It's not Rob Holding. It's not Gabriel. Zinchenko as well. Some of these other players have the whole responsibility. Why is Saka going quiet in the last 2-3 games? He's allowed to, by the way, because he's had a great season.
Saka has been poor, but last game was good, and the game previous to that was probably Crystal Palace. But Rob Holding is not a scapegoat. The issue is Rob Holding is not good enough. We can all agree here. Rob Holding is not good enough. It's on Mikel Arteta to find another solution. Now, to call somebody a scapegoat, we all have jobs here. We've all worked with people who we don't trust, and this is what they're doing. They're basically working with someone that they don't trust. Mikel Arteta should not be putting Rob Holding in the firing line for the third successive game where we've dropped points. If he does it again, and we go to Man City away, and we go to the Etihad where we've had a horrific record, where we talk about the Anfield curse, the Etihad curse is just as bad since 2012, right? So we cannot go there and try to break a curse or try to win a game away from home against a team that's won the league 4 out of 5 times with a problem in our defense. I think Mikel Arteta needs to make either a systematic change it to a back 3 or something, or if you're going to play with a back 4, throw Kieran Tierney in there, or throw KV, or throw somebody else in there, because even take Partey out of the midfield and put him in a right back position. Do something, because we cannot go with the same team again, or we're going to experience the exact same result.
I agree with that. I think he does need to make a change, and I think individual players have made mistakes. I think the two really honest fan cams on AFTV, Troops, he wasn't ranting. He just said, I think Arsenal have become scared. He said he heard a rumor that players have become fixated on City's form as opposed to just focusing on themselves. And all of that feels logical to me. That is what people do when they lose. You see a lot of fighters. They sometimes get fixated on the person they're fighting next rather than the guy that's in front of them. And they get sparked out unconscious because they're not focusing on the actual thing, the fight in front of them or themselves, their own work. They're fixated somewhere else. There's some super chats I want to do here. One says, did just say 1 year. We've been waiting 19 for this moment and bottle it. What are we talking about is what Abs has got to say here. I have negative hope for Wednesday night. No Egal smirks for me after a 4-1 loss. It's going to be a bloodbath is what Daniel says about Egal there. Everyone's saying Arsenal are cracking under the pressure and now Man City has the advantage. Let's help revive some pressure from Arsenal. They are now underdogs. Do you now feel that Arsenal are the underdogs, Nobbins, in the league in its entirety now?
I don't know. I don't really agree with the point Nick's making, because if I'm an Arsenal fan, I'd much rather have not dropped 6 points in the last 3 games, because I think I said this on when I was on just after the Sheffield United game. Arsenal fans will have been looking at their team before the Liverpool game. It was, we can afford to lose at the Etihad, and then like the West Ham game happened. It was like, oh, okay, well now we can afford to draw at the Etihad, and now the Southampton game happens, and it's like, right, well now we have to win at the Etihad, and I'd much rather my team not have to win a game at the Etihad than have to win at the Etihad. It's not impossible to do. Obviously, Brentford have done it. Everton have got a draw against us as well, so it definitely can happen. So I actually agree with the Egal's mentality earlier of like being gung-ho and being like, well, no, we've got to back it. My only question mark is I don't know if the players are thinking along the same lines of Egal. I think the players might be thinking more of what Dowd's mentality is. That was the impression I got, especially from like Zinchenko, when he came off in the Liverpool game. That was the impression I got from the Arsenal players when like the final whistle went in the Southampton game. Like they all fell to the floor, and you could tell like what that meant to them, what they realized they did. So it's definitely better to be in a position where you don't have to win rather than win. And I'm certainly feeling much better about it than I was like this time a week ago, 2 weeks ago. Now I know that we can technically afford to draw. I've actually got some Opta stats, which says that if City win this game, according to Opta, there's a 91% chance we'll win the league. If we draw, there's a 72% chance we'll win. And even if Arsenal win, they've only given them a 56% chance to win the title. That's because Arsenal have also got a tricky game at Newcastle away, obviously. Arsenal have been their own worst enemy in the past 3 weeks. The Anfield game, before kickoff, you can be like, a draw at Anfield, fine, but you can't bottle at a relegation bound or challenging West Ham when you're 2-0 up, and you can't capitulate at home and go 3-1 down to the worst team in the league. So they're their own worst enemies, and it's just funny because like City have just been sat there not really doing anything. They've been playing in like other competitions, the Champions League and FA Cup, and Arsenal have just been their own worst enemy in that respect.
Yeah, that's the worst thing, is that Man City haven't really done anything. Is that we're just doing it to ourselves, where it's like we've had two.
I disagree. I think City have done something. Their form clicked into gear 5 weeks ago, and they started battering everybody. And all the things I criticised City for this year, they haven't been gettable in games. They haven't looked shaky at the back. They haven't been dodgy in the middle. And Jack Grealish has even clicked into gear and started scoring and assisting and dominating games. That is, I think, what's put the Willies up Arsenal. And that's just a phrase for being scared. It's an old-fashioned phrase. Putting the Willies up someone. And that's what's happened to Arsenal. They have seen that and gone, oh, my God. And Troop spoke about it in his video. And Troops was talking about, he heard this on a genuine podcast. It wasn't a theory from Troops. I mean that with all due respect to him. And I think that's what's happened, Dawes. I think you guys have let City get inside your heads. And the crazy thing is, I stand by every video I made this year. I think you were in City's head. You were where you wanted them. You had a psychological advantage, but they've managed to creep into yours. And it's got into your games, because in 2 of the last 3 games, it was the best football I've seen from Arsenal all year, and you were winning. And then it fell apart as soon as you got a little jab landed on the jaw. What is it they say for Leon Edwards? Headshot done. Headshot dead. It's crazy, bruv. Like, there's a super chat here for you, actually, Dawes. So it says the FT tie, I think he means you, went from a point gained at Anfield to being possessive over word aesthetics to being realistic. I told you it wasn't a point gained at Anfield, you mean?
That's got nothing to do with Liverpool Anfield, because even getting a point at Anfield was still a good point. Is the last 2 games against West Ham and Southampton, where we've just done it to ourselves. I don't know how we drew against West Ham. We were 2-0 up, and then I don't know what kind of performance that was in the first half against Southampton. So that's got nothing to do with the Anfield. I don't get that super chat.
Listen, I'm just gonna say this: we've won the league at Anfield. We've won the league at the Lane. We won the league at Old Trafford. We've won the league at Old Trafford. We've won the league at Stamford Bridge. We've done this before. We can do it again. All it takes is this team to wake up, grow some cojones, as my guy would say, Troy Deeney, and let's go. And let's go, because we got a battle to go on Wednesday. If we go into with the mentality that we're gonna lose, there's no point. Why are we even gonna show up? As Xhaka said in that Newcastle game, if you're old enough, if you're old enough to be in the team, you're good enough to do it. And I don't want to hear about young players. I don't want to hear about none of that. At the end of the season, we can have all the context that we want, but the reality is we find ourselves in a situation and we have to go for it. We can't convince ourselves that we're not going to do it.
Yeah, Egal, I want to win that game as much as you do. Like, that game, I'm gonna be supporting the team. But it's talking about just the game itself. It's how good are Man City and how good are we? And
so how do you see the game going? We are going to come back to some of these super chats, but prediction-wise, Mo, how's the game going on Wednesday night?
Prediction-wise, I think City will win the game at least with +2 goals. That's prediction-wise. But I think Arsenal should go to the game with the mentality that's 11 players against 11 players, a good manager versus a good manager. If we're going to wake up at some point, this is the game. This is the game of the season for them. You know, it's 90 minutes, kill yourself on the pitch, get a result and go home. And a lot of teams did it before and it can be done. But prediction-wise, if I'm going to put my money again, I'm going to put it on Man City winning +2 goals, to be honest.
Kaz?
Football works in roundabouts. I'm going to go for an Arsenal win because no logic, no explanation, just being different, innit? I suppose. I just want
pure hope.
I'm just in pure hope in Arsenal. I just shocking results happen all the time, man. I'm going for Arsenal because I don't like City right now at that treble.
I hear ya.
I need it. Come on, Arsenal, man. Please.
Please. Dawes, what would your prediction for the game be scoreline wise?
3-1 City. Just in context, it might. This is me, and everyone's probably thinking we're going to lose against City. Everyone's probably going to think that we're going to lose against City. That might be something might be a positive towards the players, where they might think the fan think got no chance. Rival fans think that we're going to get absolutely obliterated against Man City. It might be one of them ones where they've actually performed now. But against West Ham, Liverpool, and Southampton, everyone expected us to beat them, and then the players didn't turn up. So it might be one of them ones where everyone's against the players, as in the rival fans and some Arsenal fans. But we might turn up. It might be either be 3-1 Arsenal or 3-1 City. So you never know.
Nobbins?
It's tricky. Arsenal don't have Saliba. We don't have Ake. So I think the battle between Laporte and Saka is going to be big. Laporte was able to lock down Salah in a similar game in 18-19 in a similar match where City had to win, and we did. I'm going to say it's going to be like last season where Liverpool came to the Etihad and they had to win for the title race to be in their hands. That game ended 2-2. I'm going to say it's going to be 2-2 this time around as well. Arsenal have to win. City will know that if they draw, it's still in their hands. As long as they've got to win their games in hand as well. But I think Pep will be quite happy with a point, to be honest. I don't think he's going to actively play for a point, but I don't think he's going to gun for the win if it's if it's equal in the later stages. So I'm going to go 2-2.
2-2. Egal?
Depends how we set up, but these are the two ways that I could see how things go. If we go there, pragmatic, and we play once we get a goal, we try to hold on to it and we shut up shop, they're gonna beat us. So we need to go there, gun swinging, try to outscore them. We're gonna have to, and if we're gonna win, it's gonna be a 3-2, or it's gonna have to be a high scoring game. That's the only way we're gonna beat them. We're not gonna beat them trying to shut up shop, be defensive, because our defense is not good enough to keep them from scoring. So it's gonna be I'm gonna go for a 3-2 Arsenal victory, and that's more my head than my heart. I mean, that's more my heart than my head.
I get that. I'm actually going to echo what Nobbit. I'm going to go. I was thinking draw. I was thinking 2-2. And it'll almost be a sense of like, at the end of it. But yeah, I think 2-2 is what I think will happen. We have some more super chats here. The first one says, I'm a Liverpool fan. Arsenal fans have no backbone. They say they have these great players, but every chance they get, they say they're out of the title race. You are 1 point ahead. And City are going to drop points in 1 or 2 games. Back them. Basically, Jorge saying that you're not backing your team enough. That's obviously going to be aimed at Dawes more than Egal, that says the team should fight. Egal, you are not the coach. Let Arteta do his thing. No criticism, he says. Basically.
One second, Terry, something that I don't understand. It's when we're realistic, it's you're not backing the team. And then when we say we've got a chance of winning against Man City, everyone says you're deluded, and it's like you can never have a balanced point of view. I'm being realistic. I'm looking at the City team. I'm looking at our team. I'm looking at how they're performing, how we're performing, and I'm saying this is how the result's going to be. And everyone say I'm not backing the team. That doesn't make sense at all.
Yo, it's fine, man. this is what you have to understand is there's going to be people who are always going to disagree with you no matter what you say. That's the reality of.
You know what the best part is though? You're probably better off going into this game as the underdog now, anyways.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm not a coach. I am a coach. I'm a basketball coach. I'm not a football coach. But when it comes to Mikel Arteta, I'll tell you this: he has to change it up, because if he goes in the same way as he did against the last 2 games, it's pure insanity. Literally, you're setting us up for failure.
Yeah, I hear you on that. This year says it's okay to love Arteta, but call him out for his mistakes. This is his first job. He's learning. 2, playing Vieira and not subbing him at halftime was on Arteta, is what Ricky Proctor says. Rivals are desperate for us to turn on Arteta. Do you feel that way, Dawes? Do you feel like rivals really want to see Arsenal fans turn on Arteta?
1,000,000%. Yeah, 1,000,000%. It's like when we didn't get top 4 last season, Arteta's not good enough. He needs to leave. He can't get you Champions League football. This season, we can't win the Premier League. Arteta's not good enough. He needs to leave. He can't handle the big occasions, and he can't make the right decisions when it comes to the most important part of the games. And it's like Arteta, if he has to become a Pep Guardiola. If he doesn't become a Pep Guardiola, he's never going to be good enough. I don't understand that.
You know what? I'm not going to tell fans how to act or do anything, but I just feel like you can question a manager as much as you want. You can criticize a manager for not getting the right performances, but if you think for the good of Arsenal, getting rid of Mikel Arteta right now, if things don't end the way that we want it to end, is productive, I don't know what to say to you, because you've clearly seen that stability at Arsenal Football Club is the best way to get production. Anyways,
how much pressure is on Mikel Arteta if he doesn't win the Premier League this year? Because obviously it'll be viewed as last year commanding position for top 4 fell away. This year, 8 points clear at the top. These 3 subsequent games where you've thrown away 6 points, really when you should have been winning them all, do you think it puts more pressure on him to deliver a major trophy next year and to not crumble again?
We have to start winning trophies. Yeah, sorry, go.
I think 100%. Yeah, next year we cannot lower the standards. We have to go for a title challenge again and try to win it and improve the squad where we can compete on all fronts. But still, no matter what happens this season, Mikel Arteta is the manager of the year.
He's the manager of the year still, even if he comes second.
Yep, 100%.
What?
100%.
What? So if Ten Hag, all right, you know what? I think Eddie Howe's got a good shout, but because no one expected that. But second and 4th place don't mean no different, by the way, just because you challenged when you didn't expect it. But imagine we got written off, by the way. We got told I'm just gonna keep it purely on Man United. Then imagine Ten Hag wins the FA Cup, a Carabao Cup, finishes in 3rd or 4th. Arteta's manager of the year.
Arteta's manager of the year because of where we've been, the position that we've been in all season, and how we've been playing.
Why are you playing victim? You sound like a victim, bro.
No one's a victim.
You sound like you're playing victim, bro. Oh, because Arteta. You're not even in the process, no. Gee, you're not even in the process no more. That's the maddest thing. Your process is finished.
You even know who the
process is not finished. Process is not finished.
Your process is finished, G. When you've had 3 years, your process is finished, G. Now you're just gonna improve on positions. Now your process is done, bro. Your style of play, his team is there.
We're still got the same players we've had for many years. So we're still you're gonna upgrade. Your process is done, bro. It don't take 4 or 5 years to do a process.
1 second. Who's injured us, killed us, or harmed us for me to be a victim? Mikel Arteta. Speaking about Mikel Arteta being a number one of the best managers this year and being the potential manager of the year, I think all of us would have said that based on the run of this season. If we don't finish at the end of the season, I still believe he'll be manager of the year based on the progression that this team made and how we've been playing this whole season. Don't just think, oh, because you didn't get the final.
You didn't say potential. Your words wasn't potential, G.
Bro, I always said potential. Do you think?
No, you didn't. You said he is. You said no. Okay. Even if they finish second, he's manager.
Let me rephrase it. Let me rephrase it.
Okay, then.
Chuck potential out. He is going to be manager of the year no matter what happens with this.
Hang on a minute. So if Pep wins the treble,
it doesn't matter. Let
me answer my question. If Pep wins a treble, Arteta is the manager of the year.
It doesn't matter what Manchester City do. Arteta is going to be the Premier League manager of the year. 1 second. Listen to what I said. Listen to what I said. Listen. This is not. Let me answer.
I don't care. I'm asking you. Egal, I don't care about who wins the Premier League manager of the year. I'm asking you a question. Do you think Mikel Arteta deserves to be the manager of the year if Pep does a treble?
I am always speaking about Premier League Manager of the Year. I'm not talking about.
I'm
FA
asking
Manager of the
you
Year.
your opinion. Do you think
Yes.
Mikel? So if Pep does a treble, Arteta deserves the Manager of the Year over him, in your opinion?
No, not the FIFA Manager of the Year award. I'm talking about the Premier League Manager of the Year award.
You know it does count. You know it does count, by the way. Other trophies, right?
One second, Terry. Let me make myself clear then.
I want you to answer the question straight. I want a yes or no.
I am answering it.
Give me a yes or no then. If Pep wins a treble, do you believe Arteta deserves the Premier League Manager of the Year?
Yes.
Does the Premier League Manager of the Year award also account for other competitions?
Premier League Manager of the Year doesn't
does.
account for Champions League, FA Cup.
I don't know.
Egal, it does.
I don't know.
Listen, I don't care what anybody tells me. I don't care about anything else. I'm just saying he can win. He can win the FA Premier League Manager of the Year. He can win the Ballon d'Or Manager of the Year. He can win the other Manager of the Years. All I'm saying is Premier League Manager of the Year, Mikel Arteta is winning it based off what he's done throughout this whole calendar year. Pep Guardiola, they're going to look at him and they're going to say, you know what, voter fatigue. They're not going to give it to him. Why didn't they give it to him last year? They gave it to Klopp. I'm telling you right now,
because he was on forefront set. Because he actually went to finals. He won 2 cups and went into a final, a Champions League, lost, and actually went all the way in. Maybe
1 second. They look at how many times you won Manager of the Month, how many times your team was top of the league, how many times you've won so many games throughout the season, and they're going to say, you know what, Mikel Arteta deserves it based off the run of the improvement that his team's made.
Based on the run of ball, Egal, yeah. Okay, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer should have got Manager of the Year because he finished second when he shouldn't have in that COVID year.
I honestly don't care what other examples you give me. Tell me why Mikel Arteta doesn't deserve it.
I'm not worried about why you. Everything you've said there makes sense in from the perspective of if they gave it to him and based on how many Manager of the Months he's had and the fact that he was top for longer than Pep, I get it. That isn't my question. My question is, do you think Arteta would deserve it over Pep if Pep completes a treble?
Yes.
Why? And the reason I ask why is surely a manager that goes the whole way in the 3 biggest competitions he can be in is a better achievement, balancing his squad, maintaining that continuity. How can you believe that? Winning a treble doesn't deserve Manager of the Year.
Because he's the Premier League Manager of the Year, not the World's Manager of the Year.
It's not, but when when you play Champions League games and FA Cup games, you're doing it in the middle of a Premier League season. They're not
guess what? But Terry, you don't win Premier League Player of the Season for outperforming everyone in the Champions League.
Yes, you do.
No, you don't.
Bro, everything's accounted for. Premier League, FA Cup, Carabao Cup. Is there Carabao Cup Premier League Manager of the Year?
No.
Is there FA Cup Manager of the Year?
You don't win Young Player of the Year in the Premier League for being the best player in the Champions League. No, you don't. If you score 5 goals,
Egal, how many players have you seen that are world class for, say, Liverpool in the Champions League, but then have been piss poor in the Premier League all season? How often does that happen? Generally, when you have good seasons, your form it's a bit like with Rashford this season. Rashford's bit like form across all tournaments has been excellent. Haaland across all tournaments has been excellent. Saka has been good. He played well he didn't really play much in the Europa League, to be fair. But that's why these people get their accolades. I just find it interesting for me that I understand Arteta winning it if Pep just wins the Prem. I get it to a degree. But if a man wins the treble, every single managerial award this year, this calendar year, should all go to Pep because he would have equaled the greatest ever achievement in English football of a treble, and it would be his second treble. Like that needs, and by the way, a 3-peat. He'd be completing 3 Premier Leagues on the bounce. He'd be the Manager of the Year for me, 110%. League-wise, all tournaments. Now, Arteta's done brilliantly, but if Pep completes a treble, my days, he deserves it. He deserves it.
Pep is going to get recognized. He's going to get recognized by Ballon d'Or people. He's going to get recognized by FIFA. He's going to get recognized by other things. There's other ways that he's going to get recognized for winning all those major trophies. But being Premier League awards, let's not forget, it's based on the season that you've had in the Premier League. And
there's no such award, G. But
Pep season has been up and down. Where Arsenal, we've been consistent at the top, and we've had those top performances throughout the whole season.
So who's had the better season if City win the league? Arsenal or City?
Of course, City.
So why does it matter about who had the better
because
middle?
It's about a manager. It's not about the team.
So the team that he manages.
Listen.
So wait. Why? Let me ask you a question. I want personally. I want to hear from. Is your name Duad? Sorry.
Dord.
So I want to hear from him what he thinks as well, since he's the other Arsenal fan here. Dowd. My apologies, bro. Egal, then why wouldn't Eddie Howe deserve it more than Arteta then? Because I'm pretty sure everyone had Liverpool or Chelsea, maybe Man United at the start of the season. He's overachieving, getting to that point. He didn't bottle it again to the top 4. He's looking comfortable now. You know, he's pretty. But what's the difference? I get it. You pushed it all the way,
Because you have to look at
difference is last year. Did Klopp not finish only 1 point behind City? You might not finish 1 point. They had to claw back 11 points at some point, and he's still clawing back points. And he might still beat you.
It's up to you. It's up to you who you want to give it to. I'm saying Mikel Arteta is going to win it. I think I've given my reasons why he's going to win it. You don't agree with those reasons. You don't agree with my logic.
Fair enough. It's your opinion, bro. It is your opinion. So
the reason why I wouldn't give it to Eddie Howe is because of how poor the rest of the teams are finishing in the top 4. This might be one of the lowest points finishing in the top 4 this season.
Wrong. Sorry. That's wrong. This time, it's just if you look at the Dawes, go and do your research. Last year, the points that City, so that Newcastle and Man United are on, in the last 15 years, they'd be in the top 4 every single one of those seasons but one.
But if that's they're on 59 points right now,
right? And
so
every other year after 30 games for the past 15 years that I checked, only one of those seasons would they be just outside the top 4. So this amount of points for Newcastle and United would have been, by the way, it's 8 points better than you were last year at this stage when you were sitting in 4th.
I know, but
it's what you just said is a complete lie.
I know, but last season, even if we finished top 4, we gave it to all the teams. It wasn't like we deserved to finish top 4. It was how bad we were, and then we just capitulated, and Tottenham just got it. The reason why Tottenham got the 4th position is because of how bad we were. The reason why Newcastle are so comfortable in 3rd position of how bad Tottenham have been and Liverpool have been this season trying to get into the top 4 position. It's Newcastle.
They won these points.
Let me ask you that question. Everybody else being bad, how does that help Like if Liverpool and Spurs have been crap, how does that help Newcastle win their games?
No, I'm talking about how good if Eddie Howe deserves to get Premier League Man of the season.
Okay, but based on your logic, if City and Liverpool were as good as they were in 2018 and 19, you wouldn't be in a title race. Therefore, your season isn't a good achievement, is it?
No, but we'll still accumulate points where it's deserved to win the Premier League. The reason why when Kez
said 3rd and 4th, so the teams in 3rd and 4th.
Can I back your point up?
When you said about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer finished in 2nd that season when Man City won the league, Man City were comfortable 1st all season. Man City. You guys were never going to beat Man City to the title last season.
That isn't the question that's being posed. You're saying that Newcastle were only in 4th, in a top 4 position. They're 3rd currently because teams have dropped off. Based on that, and therefore it's not that good of an achievement. Based on that logic, we know that Liverpool and City have dropped off slightly points-wise. You could argue from their best teams. Does that mean Arsenal's achievements mean nothing? Of course it don't. You are where you are because you won your points, Arsenal, and you have been good enough to be in this title race. You're good enough to be top right now. To try and discredit Newcastle by saying, because Liverpool...
I'm not discrediting Newcastle as a team.
You did.
You kind of did.
Why Eddie Howe doesn't deserve to be the Premier Manager of the year?
Can I tell you why then? Can I feel like I can tell you why? Newcastle, a year and a half ago, were in relegation. Eddie Howe takes them from pretty much bottom of the league to pretty much 9th. Then the following season continues that form. He didn't actually spend that much money either, if I'm being correct either. He got to a Carabao Cup final. I think it's like their first final since 99 or something like that. They ain't won a trophy since 55. Great, cool. We got there. Premier League. He's still in 3rd place, bearing in mind there's games and more games to play. He's still play you. How can you undermine such a thing? How can you undermine it? He's barely got a score, by the way. He's got a player 11.
Who should be the Premier League Player of the Year?
I'm going to give it to Erling Haaland.
If you remove Haaland, though, who would you give it to? If Haaland can't get it, who would you give it to?
Saka.
I'd give it Saka, yeah.
I know the bait.
But the reason that I say that is based on this super chat. It should be Almiron. He's won more Player of the Month awards than Saka. See, that's why the Player of the Manager of the Month award, it don't make sense. You've got to base it on end of season achievements.
Also, I don't think De Bruyne has won one in his career. I don't think De Bruyne has won one
Player of the
Month award.
It's crazy, man. Listen, I think Arteta's a great shout for it. He's in the running. But by the way, remember what I said? If Pep wins a treble, if he doesn't win that award, it is a travesty, and we should never take individual awards seriously ever again. To win a treble, it means you are the best manager, not just this year. It means you've been the best manager in the Premier League since 1999. It's
Because if you put that logic as well again, Terry. So Klopp got it last year. He was fighting all front. He won the 2 domestic trophies as well. He fought to the very end for the Premier League and also the Champions League. Imagine you flip the script. So they got to the quarterfinal Carabao Cup. City got knocked out. They're the FA Cup final. They might go on to win the Champions League potentially. They might even get knocked out. They could get to the very end, and they might win the Premier League. That all includes with the Premier League because you have to play extra games regardless of your situation. Arsenal, you've had one game. Like, no disrespect to Arsenal, you've been fantastic this year, bro. You've definitely overachieved and you've definitely blown everyone's minds away. But you bottled the league and you've had one game per week since what? Feb?
1 second. I'm just going to say this.
Come on, man. A little bit of respect to Pep there, man.
The league is not done. When we win, when we do something and we win it, then you guys can come here and be like, you know what, my bad. You still now he deserves it. But guess what? It's based on the whole entire season, and based on what I said, I still stand by my point. Mikel Arteta will still win Manager of the Year, even if Pep Guardiola gets a goddamn treble, because it's Premier League Manager of the Year and not Football Manager of the Year.
Guarantee if he wins it, I'll put an Arsenal shirt on, mate, and he won't win it.
Listen,
based on your logic, that means that Rashford deserves to be Player of the Year. Then he won the most. I don't
think the same thing applies for players because it's a Manager of the Year.
So
anyways,
Cheers, Egal.
I made my point. I gotta go. Have a good one. Love.
Cheers, Egal. Thank you. I've got some super chats to finish up on here. First one says, Egal, I rate your loyalty and pride in this conversation, but Pep winning a treble, 100% Manager of the Year. But the thing is, I actually get what Gal's saying. Based on the way he believes they picked the Manager of the Year, Arteta will win it. But my question just was, does he deserve it in your opinion if man wins a treble? And the reason I back Pep here is because when you're managing 3 tournaments at the same time, it impacts what you do in the league, and to balance all 3 is amazing. Didn't know Egal was a crackhead, is what David says here. Pep Manager of the Year if he wins a double.
Allow that talk, man.
How otherwise is what Ricky says. Nick here says no one thinks Arsenal will win. The players can play with more freedom. It's not we have to win. It's no one expects us to win. That's so that slay is what Nick says. Winter Surface is sorry, Egal, you've never won the league at Stamford Bridge. Fair enough. I didn't know either way, to be fair. The only way I see Arsenal beating City is if Pep has a Pep moment in the game. That could be true. Thoughts on Man United surrendering top 4 to Liverpool? I know I weren't well on Saturday, so I wasn't on the shows. I did hear Tom Little say that he thinks Liverpool will overtake Man United in the top 4 race. Tom Little must have been drinking. That's all I'm going to say, because that is not going to happen. Chelsea Blue says, I don't want Poch at Chelsea, but what I will say is he'll help develop our youth. I think I've already done that super chat. Thank you. Haaland versus Holden. I sense a hat-trick incoming. I mean, mad if Holding's got a hat-trick from corners now, wouldn't it? Terry got the deluded twins together. I respect it. They're not deluded. Now, come on, Ty. Don't be rude. They're good guys, man. They're good guys. Gal was having his greatest day ever, I think, on the show.
Terry,
that moment at the end.
Terry, with that super chat, we did actually win at Stamford Bridge. I just checked it. It was in.
Oh, you did? Okay.
In
19 when?
33.
Oh, 1933. Yeah. Ratted.
I remember it.
I didn't know that. There we go.
Was it even called Stamford Bridge back then?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea what that ground was called back then.
And 33 and 34 as well, 1934.
Pretty sure Man United. I don't know why there's such pride. I'm sure you could just say, yeah, Man United's probably won all them grounds as well. Like every ground in the flipping country. It's just whatever, isn't it? Such pride, though, isn't it?
Viewers, I want to say a big thank you to each and every single one of you. Please hit the like button before you leave and check out our raffle. We're giving away 2 tickets and a £250 prize, like money expenditure. What do you call it?
Per team.
Yeah, we're giving £250 away for expenses, travel, food on the day, and 2 tickets to the Manchester Derby Cup final. If you want to enter, scan the spending money we're giving away. That's it. Scan the QR code on the screen now to enter, or click on the link in the description below. But that's 2 tickets for the final, already purchased. They're in my back pocket. Well, metaphorically speaking, they're electric. They're out there in the ether somewhere. So go get it done now. Get yourself into the draw to win that. My panel, you've been amazing as ever. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again very, very soon. Thank you. Thank you.